Did you know? There's a fish that looks small and harmless, yet just one of them can kill 30 adults. To this day, the world still has no antidote if you accidentally eat the wrong part. That fish is the pufferfish. And yet, every year, humanity consumes thousands of tons of pufferfish, turning it into one of the most dangerous delicacies on the planet. In the world of fine dining, it has become a risky but irreplaceable link in the culinary chain. In the early morning or at carefully chosen times when the sea is calm, pufferfish fishing boats head out to sea, carrying the hope of catching one of the ocean's smallest yet most valuable treasures. Then, under the hands of specially licensed chefs, this fish is carefully prepared into a luxury dish, where every paper-thin slice is not just a culinary masterpiece, but a daring gamble that defines the pinnacle of high-end cuisine. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we explore the perilous journey of one of the world's most dangerous fish. We'll uncover a meticulous, breath-holding preparation process, where a single mistake could cost a life. All of that coming up in this video. There's a strange truth about the pufferfish. Most of its body is water. When threatened, it quickly gulps seawater into its belly, swelling up to 2 or 3 times its size, like a living balloon drifting through the ocean. But its defense is not just about appearance. Inside, the pufferfish accumulates a neurotoxin that's thousands of times more potent than cyanide, absorbed through its natural food chain. It's a bizarre and dangerous sphere, enough to make any predator think twice. Under human hands, however, the pufferfish enters a different story. It becomes a dish that symbolizes both refinement and risk. Just one wrong slice of the knife and a fine meal can turn into tragedy. Yet in Japan, people still eat pufferfish as a way to test their own limits. Every year, over 10,000 tons are consumed, served in sashimi slices so thin they're almost transparent. A moment where taste and nerve face an invisible challenge. Out in the wild, the pufferfish plays a completely different role. Pods of dolphins don't hunt pufferfish for survival. They do it for pleasure. They pass the fish around, carefully provoking it to puff up and release just enough tetrodotoxin to trigger a light, trance-like high. For dolphins, it's like a little recreational game in the middle of the vast ocean. Among hundreds of fish species in the ocean, only the pufferfish makes fishermen both crave and fear. Tuna demands speed. Mackerel can be caught by simply surrounding them with nets. But catching pufferfish is like playing with knives on the ship's deck amid storms and biting cold. The hunt begins with the most important element, bait. But not just any bait will do. Fishermen must use mackerel they catch themselves, carefully cleaned, cut into neat small squares, and salted to preserve freshness. Because if the mackerel's oil spoils, the pufferfish will turn away. One day's preparation can include up to 20,000 bait pieces, packed into 250 cold boxes, just to feed a single fishing line stretching 48 kilometers, with over 20,000 surgical sharp steel hooks. Once the bait is ready, the lines are cast into the sea. Tens of thousands of hooks sinking like an invisible net beneath the waves. But the risks start here. A strong wind can shift the lines, or a lost marker buoy can mean losing hundreds of hooks, worth thousands of dollars, swept away by the sea. Many fishermen have gone bankrupt because of a sudden storm. So why do they still risk fishing pufferfish? Simply because, if lucky, a single season can change their lives. Pufferfish meat is one of the most luxurious dishes, hunted in high-end restaurants in Japan and Korea. Its flesh is sweet, tender, and snowy white, but one wrong cut can expose deadly toxic organs. Fishing for pufferfish is not just a job, it's a gamble with the ocean, where the line between failure and fortune is just one pull away. As soon as the pufferfish is hauled aboard, everything switches to emergency mode. The fish is processed and frozen immediately on the boat at -40 degrees Celsius, because even a delay of a few hours can cause the meat to discolor, lose freshness, and plummet in value. Each fish is carefully packed into 10-kilogram boxes, layered in the freezer compartment like artificial ice amidst the ocean. For the fishermen, the freezer hold is a floating safe. The vault, safeguarding the hard-earned rewards of days spent gambling their lives with the deep sea. Alongside wild harvesting, Japan has developed a closed-system pufferfish farming industry to ensure a sustainable supply. This is an exceptionally sensitive sector. Only licensed farms are permitted to raise pufferfish because these fish are not just food, but creatures carrying dangerous toxins. The process begins with one of the most critical steps: artificial fertilization. During breeding season, farmers gently stroke the fish's belly to collect eggs and sperm, a task that seems simple but is actually an art, as even a slight mistake can shock and kill the fish instantly. Fertilized eggs are transferred into separate incubation tanks, where water temperature and cleanliness are tightly controlled every hour. In colder water, eggs take up to a week to develop. In warmer water, only 3 to 4 days, but the risk of fry mortality rises exponentially. The entire process is kept as closely guarded as a national secret, because in the world of pufferfish, whoever holds the breeding formula holds the key to a billion-dollar industry. Raising pufferfish isn't just fish farming, it's a high-stakes mental game with one of the ocean's most sensitive creatures. Feeding them isn't as simple as tossing food into the water. It's a precise ritual demanding absolute accuracy. Unlike tilapia or sea bass, species that'll eat just about anything tossed into their tanks, pufferfish are incredibly picky eaters. Their diet resembles a gourmet meal: fresh mackerel cut into small pieces, lightly prepared live shrimp, and sometimes high-protein formulated feed, all measured to the exact gram. At certain stages, pufferfish even consume small goldfish, live shrimp, or marine worms, delicacies specially chosen to stimulate their natural hunting instincts. Young pufferfish are raised indoors in closed environments. As they grow, they're transferred to outdoor tanks or sea cages where they swim freely, but under strict supervision. The difference lies in how close they are to nature, but wherever they are, farmers must engage in a chess match of wits with one of the ocean's deadliest fish. One of the strangest and most shocking steps in pufferfish farming is tooth trimming. This fish is dangerous not only because of its toxin, but also because of its razor-sharp teeth, sharp enough to bite through nets, destroy plastic tanks, or even attack each other. If left unchecked, a pufferfish group can turn a farming area into a battlefield overnight. Therefore, when the fish are still small, farmers perform a procedure that sounds like science fiction: catching the fish and using specialized pliers to carefully trim their front teeth. This is a painstaking task requiring millimeter precision. Pufferfish are extremely sensitive to stress. One shaky hand or slip-up can shock the fish, causing it to inflate and die on the spot. This isn't just tooth trimming, it's cutting away a piece of the fish's wild nature, transforming a creature known as a biological bomb into a luxury delicacy. After about 18 to 24 months of nurturing, the pufferfish reaches market size, typically measuring 30 to 40 centimeters in length and weighing between 1 to 1.5 kilograms. At this stage, its smooth, shiny skin, creamy white belly, and distinctive bulging eyes signal that it's ready for harvest. To catch the fish, ordinary nets are not used. Instead, specialized soft nets with round mouths and rubber edges are employed to prevent damaging the fish's skin. Each fish is carefully scooped up with utmost care taken to avoid causing stress or allowing the fish to inflate during harvest. because a single strong impact can trigger its defense mechanism, causing it to puff up and making handling much more difficult. After being carefully scooped up, the pufferfish are brought ashore for sorting, according to very strict standards. Fish measuring around 40 centimeters in length, weighing between 1 to 1.5 kilograms, and in perfect health, are carefully selected. These premium specimens are often put up for public auction at very high prices. Exceptional quality pufferfish can sell for thousands of dollars per fish, especially larger, healthier individuals with clear provenance. Typically, high-end restaurants or reputable distributors purchase these fish directly to ensure fresh, safe ingredients for serving exquisite and costly sashimi or fugu dishes. In Japan, pufferfish preparation is a highly regulated field, and only those holding a fugu license, a nationally certified qualification specifically for handling pufferfish, are permitted to perform it. To obtain this license, chefs must undergo years of training and pass an extremely rigorous examination that includes practical tests on filleting techniques, identifying toxic organs, and ensuring safe handling. Before entering the delicate preparation stage, where a single wrong cut could be fatal, many Japanese chefs follow a ritual that may sound unusual, feeding the pufferfish carrots and chili peppers. Carrots serve not just as food, but as a key cleanser for the fish's digestive system, helping to flush out impurities from the intestines and minimize risks during dissection. Chili peppers act as a natural anesthetic, calming the fish and preventing it from puffing up, a reflex that could turn the entire process into a disaster. And now, let's explore the pufferfish preparation process, a deadly delicacy sought after worldwide, where approximately 70% of its body contains toxins carefully controlled to turn a lethal threat into a perfectly safe gourmet dish. The process begins with a gentle incision on the fish's head, a crucial step that helps to paralyze the fish, reduce stress, and prevent it from inflating suddenly during handling. The craftsman continues by carefully removing all the sharp fins. However, instead of being discarded, these fins are often preserved to be used as decorative elements or incorporated into traditional Japanese dishes like tsukudani, a savory, flavorful dish served with rice, making full use of every part of this unique fish. Immediately after, the mouth is carefully removed because the fish's salivary glands also contain toxins. This step also reduces the risk of injury during processing and prevents the fish from biting, ensuring the safety of the handler. Next, the craftsman skillfully removes the fish's skin with swift and precise movements to preserve the meat underneath. Since the skin also contains potent toxins, careful removal is essential to ensure absolute safety. A seemingly simple fish, yet hidden inside are 4 deadly toxin-containing areas: the liver, ovaries, intestines, and skin. Even a small piece of these organs contaminating the meat can turn the dish into poison. Therefore, the pufferfish preparation process is carried out almost like microsurgery, where every cut must be absolutely precise. Importantly, pufferfish internal organs are not discarded as ordinary waste. They must be collected, sealed as high-level hazardous material, and disposed of according to strict procedures. Every year, Shimonoseki processes over 3,000 tons of pufferfish, generating hundreds of millions of dollars for the luxury food industry. This is not just a dish, it represents the delicate boundary between culinary excellence and life-threatening risk. Behind each paper-thin slice of sashimi, nearly translucent, lies a complex chain of steps where mistakes are almost impossible to afford. Pufferfish meat doesn't explode on the palate like Wagyu beef or offer the rich fattiness of salmon. Instead, it carries a different kind of delicacy: chewy, crisp, and refreshingly light, leaving a cool, clean finish on the tongue, as if you're tasting a slice of the ocean freshly cut at dawn. In high-end fugu restaurants in Japan, sashimi is often arranged in the shape of a chrysanthemum, a symbol of purity and a subtle reminder of the thin line between life and death. The slices are so thin they're almost transparent, shimmering on the plate like petals kissed by morning dew. Eating a piece of pufferfish sashimi isn't just a taste experience. It's a testament to the chef's absolute precision, because one misplaced cut could turn the meal into a matter of fate. Beyond sashimi, pufferfish is prepared in various distinctive ways. In Korea, the meat is transformed into fiery, spicy stir-fries marinated in vibrant red sauce that captures the bustling spirit of street markets. If you're a fan of pufferfish hot pot, each pot is more than just a meal. It's a rich experience filled with the delicate taste of the sea and meticulous preparation. The clear, savory broth blends perfectly with fresh, tender pieces of pufferfish, offering a warm yet light sensation that awakens all your senses. With every dip, the fish cooks just right, retaining its characteristic chewy texture, creating a unique flavor you won't forget. Among the roughly 950 recorded species of sea urchins, only 18 are harvested commercially, with major catches coming from countries such as Chile, the United States, Russia, and Canada. Within this select group, a few stand above the rest: the red sea urchin of North America and the black sea urchin of Japan. Prized for their large, luscious roe, vibrant color, and rich, sweet flavor. This rarity explains why uni ranks among the most expensive seafood in the world, with prices reaching as high as $300 to $500 per kilogram, making it a prized indulgence sought after by the elite. Dominating over 80% of global consumption, Japan's sea urchin industry generates hundreds of millions of dollars each year, all from a single, one-of-a-kind ingredient, uni. For those who have never tasted it, imagine a spoonful of sea egg butter, silky and melting instantly on the tongue, leaving a rich, briny finish as alluring as soy-marinated egg yolk, with a hint of sweetness and a whisper of seaweed. Yet the story of sea urchins reaches far beyond the plate. They are the gardeners of the ocean, tending kelp forests and maintaining balance in the seafloor ecosystem. But when natural predators like sea otters vanish, or when urchins graze away every kelp spore, their populations can explode, turning lush marine landscapes into desolate urchin barrens. Even as the world's largest harvester and importer, Japan still cannot satisfy its immense domestic appetite for uni. This demand, coupled with the collapse of wild stocks, has sparked a shift toward a more sustainable future, farming sea urchins in controlled environments, from tiny drifting larvae to golden road treasures. The industrial farming process of sea urchins begins with the careful selection of healthy broodstock with well-developed gonads. By injecting a potassium chloride solution to stimulate the sea urchin's body to contract and release its gametes, and then using gravity to aid collection, technicians obtain pale yellow sperm from the males and thick white eggs from the females, ready for the next step of fertilization. Sperm and eggs are collected under sterile conditions, then combined in tanks filled with treated seawater, maintained at a stable temperature of around 15 to 20 degrees Celsius and a salinity of 32 to 35 Vs. Once fertilized, the eggs quickly begin cell division and develop into pluteus larvae, tiny, transparent creatures with delicate arms used for swimming and feeding. At this stage, they are reared separately in specialized tanks, where fresh microalgae serve as their primary food source, supporting steady growth before they transition into the adult stage. After the larval stage, the sea urchins are transferred to large tanks equipped with rocks or attachment frames to support the formation and growth of their hard shells. When they reach the size of a clenched fist after 6 to 8 months, sea urchins are grown in large sea cages or tanks, fed fresh kelp or brown seaweed that directly determines the quality of their uni-roe and market value. Over the next 4 to 8 weeks, the urchins absorb maximum nutrition, their gonads swelling to perfection, reaching the ideal state for harvest. However, larval survival rates are extremely low, making sea urchin farming challenging and limited, with success rates of only around 10%. As a result, the majority of commercial sea urchin supply still comes from wild harvesting, leading us to the next chapter, the journey of harvesting from the depths of the sea. From May to August each year, as the sea warms and daylight hours lengthen, sea urchins enter their spawning season, a time when their gonads, the rich, golden-orange roe, reach peak development, signaling a bumper harvest and the highest profits of the year. With hand diving, it may sound simple, but in reality, it's a trade that demands physical strength, skill, and finesse. Divers equip themselves with a mask, snorkel, anti-spike gloves, and, most importantly, a curved iron hook or a specialized brush. They descend to depths of 2 to 10 meters, where sea urchins cling to rocks, nestle among seaweed, or sometimes hide in crevices as if playing a game of hide-and-seek. Each lift of the hand must be precise, avoiding breaking the shell, damaging the roe inside, or getting pricked by the spines. Once collected, the urchins are placed into mesh pouches worn at the diver's side to prevent crushing, and brought back to the boat in batches. On average, a skilled diver can harvest between 100 and 300 sea urchins a day, depending on the fishing grounds and population density. The diligent divers understand that sea urchin populations have declined nearly tenfold compared to 50 years ago, so juvenile urchins must never be harvested. Selecting fully mature individuals is therefore a matter of experience, essential to maintaining ecosystem balance and ensuring the future growth of the population. Another highly effective method is bottom netting, a type of net designed differently from conventional fishing nets. As the net passes, sea urchins are swept in by the motion of the waves and the gentle pull of the vessel. This method allows for a much larger catch in a shorter time compared to hand diving, making it suitable for industrial-scale harvesting. However, its drawback is a higher damage rate. Urchins are more likely to be bumped, crushed, or mixed with seaweed and gravel, which directly affects the quality of the roe inside. Once the prized catch is secured, the fresh sea urchins are placed into special perforated plastic containers, lined with a layer of cloth or soft material to prevent breakage. They are then swiftly transported to processing plants to preserve their pristine condition before these delicate treasures can spoil. Here, the race against time begins as each one moves through a tightly controlled production line, where every step is designed to capture the very best of what they have to offer. At the start of the sea urchin processing line, containers from cold storage are moved to the raw material reception area. Each batch is emptied onto a feed conveyor, where workers perform an initial inspection. Damaged, spoiled, or dead urchins are removed immediately, keeping only those that are intact, with firm shells and meeting size standards. This meticulous attention at the intake stage is essential to ensuring the quality of the uni-roe inside. Once they pass the initial inspection, sea urchins are moved to the processing area, where the most crucial step takes place, splitting the shells. Workers use a specialized splitting tool with a sharp curved blade and a smart lever mechanism, achieving an average speed of 80 to 100 urchins per hour. By positioning the blade precisely along the seam between the two shell halves and applying a gentle twist, the urchin is neatly split open to reveal the edible treasure inside. At this moment, glistening golden orange lobes, the gonads, known as uni, are exposed in a light briny fluid. Although sea urchin spines are not venomous like those of lionfish, nor do they contain the potent neurotoxin tetrodotoxin found in pufferfish, workers still wear gloves to protect their hands from punctures and scratches, reduce the risk of infection, and maintain hygiene during handling. Splitting the shell is only half the journey, for the roe of the sea urchin, known as uni, is as smooth as cream, fragile, and extremely sensitive to any physical contact, requiring the extraction process to be carried out with absolute precision and care. As soon as the shell is opened, workers use a fine metal spoon or a rounded-edge medical-grade plastic spoon to minimize tearing the delicate lobes. First, they gently remove the thin membrane and any shell fragments clinging to the roe, then skillfully slide the spoon underneath each unilobe, typically 5 arranged in a star pattern, lifting them out intact. Just one overly forceful or misaligned movement can break a lobe, greatly reducing its market value. Immediately after removal, the lobes are transferred to the manual cleaning station. Here, workers use tweezers or the tip of a small spoon to pick away any remaining strands of seaweed, connective tissue, or tiny debris. Some facilities also lightly rinse the uni with filtered seawater, both to remove impurities and to preserve its natural flavor. Once cleaned, the uni is placed in temporary holding trays and gently immersed in a diluted alum solution for 2 to 5 minutes, or in some cases up to 40 minutes depending on the roe's natural firmness. This step helps lock in the shape, enhance firmness, preserve the golden hue, and stabilize the distinctive taste, from its rich briny creaminess to a subtle sweet finish, meeting premium export standards. After soaking, the uni is drained and prepared for grading and packing, ready to leave the factory and grace the tables of fine dining establishments around the world. After processing, each piece of roe is carefully arranged by hand into specialized plastic trays or premium wooden boxes, depending on market requirements. This step demands both an eye for aesthetics and skilled precision. The roe must be placed in its most visually appealing orientation, kept intact without any damage, and each box must display uniformity in color and size. The finished boxes of uni, priced at around $100 to $500 depending on grade and origin, are sealed, rapidly chilled, and moved to the final inspection area before being placed in deep cold storage, ready to make their way to high-end sushi restaurants or the most demanding export markets. One of the most common mistakes restaurants make when receiving uni is not using it immediately, instead storing it at overly low temperatures or allowing it to come into direct contact with ice, altering its flavor, stripping away its natural sweet creaminess, and compromising its delicate, smooth texture. From the depths of the sea to the finest dining tables, uni, ranging from the prized ingredient in premium Japanese sushi to a costly delicacy on international gourmet menus, carries the story of a fragile treasure that holds the full essence of the ocean. Few people know that New York was once the oyster capital of the world, where oysters blanketed the shoreline and were exported across continents. But after centuries of over-harvesting, the industry completely collapsed. Now, with an annual investment of $6 million, the city is working to revive the oyster dream right where it all began. Once a luxury on dinner plates, oyster shells used to pile up as millions of tons of waste each year. But instead of letting them rot in landfills, people began returning the shells to the sea, where each one forms the foundation for reefs, filters water, and supports entire ecosystems. A remarkable shell turnaround, from waste to a symbol of ocean renewal. Oysters have no brain or central nervous system, but don't underestimate them. Squeeze a lemon on a raw oyster, and the citric acid instantly hits the soft tissue, causing it to twitch or clamp shut in a split second. It's a final biological reflex, a quiet movement that reminds us this seemingly lifeless creature is still alive. Before reaching dining tables or canning lines, oysters undergo a meticulous farming process that begins with the smallest details. To ensure a steady supply of seed and consistent quality, many farms now rely on artificial breeding instead of seasonal natural reproduction. Healthy broodstock oysters are carefully selected and raised in tanks with tightly controlled temperature and salinity, simulating year-round spawning conditions rather than being limited to the natural breeding season from June to August. Once fertilized, the eggs are incubated in 400 to 500-liter tanks containing millions of free-swimming larvae. This early stage is highly sensitive. The larvae are fed fresh microalgae, cultivated separately under strict quality control. Throughout this process, the tank water must be continuously filtered and regularly tested to eliminate harmful bacteria, ensuring healthy, uniform larval development, the foundation for high-quality oysters in the final product. When the larvae reach the stage where they are ready to attach to a fixed surface, they are transferred to specialized setting tanks. Here, crushed oyster shells are spread on mesh or hard surfaces to provide a suitable substrate for attachment. The juvenile oysters secrete a natural adhesive to anchor themselves in place, marking the beginning of a rapid growth phase. After about 2 to 3 weeks, once the spat reach a size of 0.75 millimeters to 2 millimeters, they are screened to remove weak or underdeveloped individuals, keeping only those with uniform size. At this stage, the young oysters are strong enough to withstand natural marine conditions and are ready to be transferred to outdoor grow-out areas. When oysters reach a size of around 4 to 5 millimeters, they are transferred to the ocean environment for further growth. At this stage, farms typically use 2 main cultivation methods: suspended bag culture and bottom culture. In the suspended bag method, oysters are placed in specialized mesh bags attached to metal racks or hanging lines on the water's surface. These bags come in various mesh sizes, ranging from 0.5 to 2 inches, designed to protect the oysters from predators while allowing continuous water flow to deliver natural food like phytoplankton. As the oysters grow, they are moved into bags with larger mesh sizes to ensure adequate space for development. In bottom culture, oysters are released directly onto sandy or muddy seabeds. This method results in thicker shells and a richer flavor due to direct contact with the ocean floor. However, it requires a longer grow-out period and regular monitoring to prevent loss and minimize the impact of natural environmental changes. After about 12 to 24 months, depending on environmental conditions and oyster species, oysters reach market size, typically between 5 to 7 centimeters, and are ready for harvest. By this stage, they have developed strong shells, plump meat, and their distinct flavor profile. Oyster farming goes beyond simply providing a suitable environment. It also involves essential care techniques, such as flipping the mesh bags, conducting regular inspections, and adjusting stocking density. All of these factors play a crucial role in determining the final quality of the oysters delivered to consumers. Each early morning, as the sea remains calm, fishing boats head out, cutting through the waves. Along floating farms near the coast, farmers work busily to harvest oysters, mollusks that grow silently, clinging tightly to submerged structures in the salty water. Unlike fish or shrimp, harvesting oysters requires patience and a solid understanding of their biology. Depending on the species and salinity levels, farms must wait 18 to 36 months before oysters are ready to harvest. Harvesting methods vary by farming model. In the floating rack and bag system, oysters are grown in mesh bags suspended from frames with 50 to 100 oysters per bag. When harvest time arrives, workers use pulleys to lift the bags onto the boat, a quick and efficient process that preserves freshness. In bottom culture or wild harvesting, oysters are collected using dredging nets that scrape along the seafloor. While this method yields a high volume, it can easily mix in mud and damage shells if not handled carefully. Oysters are highly sensitive to temperature shock and physical impact, so every step from harvest to processing must be strictly controlled in terms of time, temperature, and humidity. Once brought ashore, oysters still retain seawater inside their shells, as if carrying the ocean with them, preserving their freshness to the last drop. After harvesting, oysters must be cleaned immediately to remove mud, algae, and small organisms attached to their shells, ensuring quality before moving on to the next stage. The cleaning process involves multiple steps, combining automated systems with manual handling for optimal effectiveness. First, the oysters are passed through a series of recirculating water tanks with continuous or wave-like water flow, which gently loosens mud and debris without damaging the shells. In some systems, these tanks are equipped with filtration screens to remove impurities and keep the water clean throughout the washing process. Next, the oysters enter a specialized washing system, where high-pressure spray nozzles combined with rotating drums remove any remaining stubborn residue. Under the force of pressurized seawater or clean freshwater, the oysters are thoroughly cleaned from all angles, leaving the shell surfaces free of contaminants before proceeding to the next step. Once the washing process is complete, the oysters are transferred to an automated grading system. Here, vibrating conveyors sort the oysters accurately by shell size, ensuring product uniformity. In more advanced processing lines, optical sorting machines are also used. These systems employ sensors and imaging technology to inspect shell color, shape, and detect abnormalities, such as cracks or signs of poor quality. Oysters that do not meet the required standards are manually removed by workers, ensuring that only top-quality oysters move forward. After grading, the selected oysters are placed into specialized containers with drainage holes to prevent water accumulation and maintain optimal conditions for the oysters to stay alive and healthy. Thanks to a modern cleaning and grading process that combines technology with manual handling, the oysters are not only clean, but also consistently high in quality before moving on to storage and transportation. After grading, oysters are processed in two main ways: kept in shell or fully shucked, each method serving different processing purposes. For in-shell processing, workers gently pry open or slightly separate the top shell while keeping the meat and natural seawater inside intact. This method preserves freshness and flavor and is commonly used for live oyster distribution, especially to high-end restaurants where appearance and integrity are essential. After processing, the oysters are placed on ice trays to maintain freshness and keep them alive during transport. In contrast, full shell removal is used for further processed products such as fresh shucked meat, frozen oysters, or canned goods. Despite advances in technology, much of this process is still done by hand, as oyster shells are sharp, rough, and tricky to handle. Skilled workers can shuck up to 1,000 oysters per hour while keeping the meat perfectly intact. The oyster meat is then washed with high-pressure water to remove sand and shell fragments, and in some facilities, it is sanitized using ozone or diluted brine, extending shelf life without compromising texture or requiring chemical preservatives. Once the oysters have been thoroughly washed and sterilized, they are moved to a rapid cooling zone. In this area, workers spread ice over trays of oysters to instantly reduce the temperature, preserving freshness and preventing bacterial growth while awaiting packaging. This step is essential for stabilizing the meat quality before further processing or long-term storage. For canned products, workers carefully place batches of oysters into food-grade coated aluminum cans. Each can is precisely measured by quantity or weight, then transferred via conveyor to an automated sealing system. For canned products, workers place batches of oysters into food-grade coated aluminum cans. Each can is accurately portioned by quantity or weight, then filled with a light brine or a specially formulated sauce to enhance flavor and aid in preservation. Next, the cans are conveyed along a production line to an automatic sealing machine. At this stage, the cans are hermetically sealed using high mechanical pressure to prevent any air from entering. Immediately after, the oyster cans are sterilized in steam chambers at 115 to 121 degrees Celsius for a specific duration to eliminate bacteria and extend shelf life without the need for preservatives. Finally, the cans are rapidly cooled, labeled, and boxed, ready for domestic distribution or export. In addition to fresh and canned products, a portion of the oysters is transferred to a cold air drying line, where cool air is continuously circulated around the oysters to evaporate moisture without altering the structure of the meat. In addition to fresh and canned products, a portion of the oysters is transferred to a cold air drying line, where cool air continuously circulates around them to evaporate surface moisture without altering the meat's structure, preserving both flavor and nutritional value. Next, the oysters undergo a second cold drying stage at a lower temperature and for a longer duration. This process further reduces internal moisture, achieving an optimal dryness level for long-term storage without the need for additives. Once drying is complete, the oysters are cooled to stabilize their temperature, then tested for moisture levels. Workers weigh and portion each batch, place them into bags, and immediately vacuum seal them. This step helps prevent oxidation, limits moisture reabsorption, and extends shelf life. Finally, the products are boxed, labeled, and packed, ready for export or distribution to premium markets. From the depths of the ocean to cutting-edge production lines, from human hands to sophisticated technology, each oyster is a crystallization of nature and dedication. Now that journey culminates not just in a product, but in a new standard of quality, ready to cross oceans and take its place on the most exquisite tables around the world. In the world of tuna, the bluefin reigns supreme, a true ocean legend holding countless mosts that set it apart from the rest. With a torpedo-shaped body and swimming speeds of up to 70 km per hour, second only to marlins and swordfish, paired with extraordinary endurance, these giants can migrate across the Atlantic or Pacific Oceans, covering thousands of kilometers without rest. Beneath those powerful muscles lies deep red flesh, rich in myoglobin, the ocean's equivalent of Wagyu beef. Each cut is graded by fat content, with otoro, the buttery melt-in-your-mouth belly, being the most prized, fetching hundreds of dollars for a single slice of sashimi. Japan is currently the largest consumer of bluefin tuna, accounting for over 80% of global demand. Meanwhile, Spain, the United States, Mexico, and Australia play leading roles in catching and fattening these majestic fish. Though bluefin makes up less than 1% of the world's total tuna catch, it brings in a staggering 2 to 3 billion USD annually, making it the backbone of the premium seafood industry. Right now, join me on a thrilling chase between fishermen and the giants of the sea. Trust me, What you're about to witness will keep your eyes glued to the screen. Every June, as offshore waters begin to warm with the shifting currents, bluefin tuna fishing fleets spring into action, marking the start of the most vibrant harvest season of the year. To ensure a successful catch, fishermen must understand the migratory patterns and preferred environmental conditions of this prized species. Bluefin tuna are typically found in deep waters, with temperatures ranging from 18 to 22 degrees Celsius. Areas rich in oxygen and teeming with baitfish like sardines, herring, and squid. The golden hours for casting lines are usually at dawn or dusk, when the tuna move closer to the surface and feed most aggressively. But out in the vast open ocean, one pressing question remains. How do you locate these elusive giants? With lightning-fast speeds and a tendency to dwell in deeper layers, bluefin tuna are notoriously difficult to detect. That's why fishermen rely on a combination of age-old wisdom, such as reading unusual currents or tracking seabirds diving for prey, and modern technology, including advanced sonar systems capable of detecting movement deep beneath the waves. Each bluefin tuna purse seine expedition begins with meticulous preparation, and bait is the first key to success or failure. On board, live bait tanks, usually containing sardines or herrings, are carefully monitored for temperature and oxygen levels to ensure the bait fish remain healthy and active. Before deploying the net, fishermen scatter small clusters of baitfish into the sea to attract schools of tuna, creating optimal conditions for an accurate and effective net deployment. Once the location of the tuna school is confirmed, the main vessel initiates the encirclement. A smaller auxiliary boat tows the massive purse seine net in a circular motion around the school. These nets can stretch from several hundred to over 1,000 meters long and reach depths of 150 to 200 meters. Enough to block the horizontal and vertical escape paths of the fish. The net is equipped with floating buoys at the top and weighted leads at the bottom, forming a sealed wall of water. Once the encirclement is complete, a drawstring at the base of the net is pulled tight, closing it like the mouth of a giant bag, trapping the entire school of tuna inside and preventing any escape. After hours of patient waiting, the sea erupts in a golden moment as the once still water inside the net suddenly surges with movement. Immediately, the crew rushes out and begins hauling in the tuna using specialized gaff hooks, tools specifically designed to safely bring each fish on board. Bluefin tuna are known for their ferocity and immense strength. Many continue to thrash violently, even when pulled close to the surface. Smaller or medium-sized fish can be handled by a single person. But when it comes to the true giants, weighing 200 to 300 kilograms, at least two fishermen must work in perfect coordination, keeping the line tight and lifting the fish decisively. In cases where the fish is too large, they maneuver it alongside the boat and use a specialized harpoon to strike precisely at the back. A technique that secures the fish while protecting the prized belly meat from damage. Every move is made with care to ensure the highest commercial quality. In some regions, fishermen also employ mechanical aids like cranes or pulleys to lift the tuna directly onto the boat for transport. Once the battle ends, the sea returns to calm, and the vessel continues its voyage, carrying a deck full of prized catch. Another common method used by fishermen to catch bluefin tuna is longline fishing. This technique involves deploying a main fishing line that stretches for several kilometers, with hundreds or even thousands of baited hooks attached along its length. These hooks are set at optimal depths to trap schools of tuna right in their natural hunting zones. Longline fishing for bluefin tuna requires live bait that swims naturally to entice the fish to bite on its own. Bluefin are highly sensitive and will only strike if the bait has no unusual smell and moves realistically. Sardines, mackerel, and anchovies are carefully hooked to preserve their natural motion. Artificial or frozen bait is only used when live bait is unavailable. Once the location of a tuna school is identified, fishermen begin releasing the main line, which spans several kilometers and carries hundreds of branch lines baited with live fish like sardines or mackerel. The bait is deployed at depths of 50 to 200 meters, where bluefin tuna typically hunt. The entire setup process is carried out quickly and precisely, resembling a well-planned ambush in the deep ocean. After several hours to half a day, the crew returns to haul in the line. If successful, they'll find massive bluefin tuna, each weighing hundreds of kilograms, gleaming silver in the sunlight as they dangle from the hooks. Once a tuna takes the bait, the retrieval process must be handled with extreme care to avoid spooking the fish, which could lead to violent thrashing, hook loss, or snapped lines. As the massive body of the fish emerges from the water, fishermen quickly secure it by harpooning the upper body or gaffing it through the gills, avoiding the belly where the most valuable cuts of meat are located. The team then works in sync to haul the tuna on board. Immediately afterward, the preservation process begins. The gills are cut and the internal organs removed to lower the body temperature and prevent bacterial growth. Crushed ice is then packed inside the cavity to chill the fish from the inside out, followed by a thick layer of ice covering the entire body on deck. This on-the-spot chilling is the key to maintaining peak freshness, vibrant color, and premium sashimi quality, until the fish reaches the world's top chefs. In Japan, bluefin tuna are typically transported directly to renowned fish markets like Toyosu. The fish are lifted from the boats onto cold concrete floors, tagged with identification labels, traceability codes, and auction numbers to ensure transparency. A high-quality tuna can fetch anywhere from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of USD depending on its fat content, size, and flesh color. After the auction, the tuna are taken to on-site processing areas within the market. Filleting a tuna here is not just a technical task, but an art form that demands precision and deep knowledge of the fish's anatomy. First, the craftsman slices off the tail to inspect meat quality, then removes the head and gills. The body is divided into 4 main sections, 2 back loins and 2 belly loins, with the belly, otoro, being the most prized for its rich fat content. Further cuts remove the skin, tendons, and excess fat, leaving behind perfect sashimi-grade fillets. For top-grade bluefin, otoro can sell for $300–500 per kilogram at the market. In high-end restaurants, even a small slice of otoro sashimi can cost $20–50 or more, depending on its richness and rarity. In addition to fresh auction sales at the market, a large portion of bluefin tuna is frozen immediately on board to serve export demands. This is a crucial solution to meet the enormous global appetite for bluefin, especially for the frozen sashimi market. Large export vessels function as mobile freezing factories, equipped with ultra-low temperature freezers that maintain conditions below 60 degrees Celsius. When the ship docks, each tuna is hooked onto cables and lifted ashore, then immediately transferred to specialized refrigerated trucks with deep freeze compartments. The entire process is closed and continuous to prevent thawing, which would compromise product quality. At the processing plant, frozen bluefin tuna is transferred directly into deep freeze storage, maintained at temperatures below 60 degrees Celsius until it's time for processing. When the handling process begins, crates of tuna are retrieved using specialized forklifts and moved to the cutting area. There, the fish is placed on a conveyor belt, where workers stand ready to precisely separate the valuable cuts of meat. In the rough cutting zone, industrial bandsaws with vertical blades are mounted on reinforced metal tables. Workers, dressed in protective clothing and thick rubber gloves, carefully push each fish through the saw. First, the head, containing mostly bone and little meat, is removed and cut into smaller sections for separate handling. Next, a lengthwise cut from head to tail divides the fish along the spine into two halves. The section near the gills, which contains more blood, is removed to ensure hygiene and meat quality. Before filleting, frozen bluefin tuna is passed through an industrial grinder. The high-speed rotating blade removes dried blood, frozen fat, and surface ice, preparing the fish for perfectly precise sashimi cuts in the next stage. Each half is then further divided into 4 equal portions called loins, the most prized cuts, ideal for sashimi and sushi. Finally, these large loins are cut into standardized rectangular blocks, ready for packaging and sorting according to export specifications. The entire process is fast, yet extremely precise. Just a few millimeters of error can significantly reduce the value of the meat. Before becoming food, mussels are the silent gatekeepers of marine ecosystems, helping purify the water and sustain life beneath the ocean's surface. Today, mussel farms stretch across Europe, South America, and Asia, with global production exceeding 1.8 million tons annually, supporting an industry valued at around $5 billion USD. Chile, China, and Spain currently lead the world in mussel farming, thanks to their ideal marine conditions and advanced aquaculture technologies. Compared to other seafood like shrimp or salmon, which often require industrial feed and generate high emissions, mussels stand out for their ultra-low carbon footprint, while still being rich in protein, omega-3s, and essential minerals. They've become a symbol of sustainable nutrition in an era where humanity seeks balance between health and the environment. Right now, let's head to pristine coastal waters to see how farmers harvest thousands of mussels each day, kicking off their remarkable journey from ocean to table. There are 4 main mussel species farmed worldwide, each adapted to different marine environments and cultivation methods. Among them, the European blue mussel and the New Zealand green-lipped mussel stand out for their high meat quality and significant commercial value. In Chile, China, Spain, New Zealand, and other regions with deep, clean waters, the long line, suspended rope method is the most commonly used. It offers low costs, scalability, and high efficiency. Depending on the farming region, mussels are typically harvested from late winter to mid-summer, when they reach optimal size and nutrient content. The harvesting process begins by lifting the mussel ropes out of the water using hydraulic cranes or specialized pulley systems. Each rope can reach 15 to 20 meters in length, weigh hundreds of kilograms, and be covered with thousands of mussels clumped together in large, dark clusters, along with seaweed and other marine organisms. So how do farmers separate thousands of mussels from these thick, anchor-like ropes? Traditionally, mussels were removed by hand. Farmers used scrapers, wire brushes, or metal combs to gently rake along the ropes, dislodging the mussels into collection trays or tanks. While simple, this method is time-consuming, labor-intensive, and can damage the mussels if not done carefully. Moreover, freshly harvested mussels are often covered in mud, dead barnacles, seaweed, and other biofouling organisms, so a pre-wash system is typically installed on board to rinse off the debris and ease the burden on processing plants. In modern mussel farms, this manual process has been replaced by automated onboard mussel stripping machines. These systems use rotating drums, metal rods, or stiff brushes, combined with high-pressure seawater jets, to gently shake and scrub the mussels off the ropes. The mussels are then filtered and collected in storage bins. This automation allows for faster, cleaner harvesting and significantly reduces mechanical damage compared to manual handling. Immediately after detachment, The mussels are sent through a seawater rinse conveyor to remove remaining sand, mud, and fouling organisms. Some vessels are even equipped with aeration units or coarse filters to further enhance hygiene before storage. Meanwhile, in parts of Europe, especially coastal regions of France, the Netherlands, and Belgium, mussels are farmed using the bouchot method, where they naturally attach themselves to vertical wooden poles fixed into the seabed. When the tide rises, the mussels are submerged in water to feed and grow. When the tide recedes, parts of the poles become exposed, allowing farmers to observe the mussels and time the harvest more precisely. Unlike suspended rope systems, the bouchot method doesn't allow for harvesting with pulleys or rotary strippers. Instead, farmers use specialized harvesting boats equipped with hydraulic cranes and custom mussel scraping buckets. These buckets are lowered close to the poles and operate like automated brushes, dislodging mussels from the wood surface while simultaneously washing away mud and debris with integrated water jets. Once dislodged, the mussels are suctioned into a collection chamber and transferred into the boat's storage hold. This approach speeds up the harvesting process, reduces manual labor, and minimizes the risk of breaking the poles or damaging the mussels, which can happen with traditional hand harvesting methods. After each harvest season, bouchot mussel farms require thorough cleaning and maintenance to prepare for the next cycle. The horizontal ropes stretched between poles, typically used to stabilize young mussels during early attachment, are removed, cleaned, or replaced if damaged. At the same time, the wooden bouchot poles are carefully inspected and cleaned to remove barnacles, seaweed, and other fouling organisms, ensuring a clean surface for the next generation of mussels to attach. In some regions, farmers also rotate or replace older poles to maintain structural integrity and reduce the risk of breakage or rot caused by prolonged exposure to salt water. All of this maintenance work must be carried out during low tide, requiring technical skill, physical effort, and seamless coordination between human labor and machinery. Once harvested, fresh mussels are transported to the processing plant in insulated containers and temporarily stored in aerated, artificial seawater tanks. This system keeps the mussels alive and healthy while allowing them to expel sand and grit before processing. As a result, the raw materials remain fresh and ready for the production line at any time. To begin processing, the mussels are poured into a feeding hopper and enter a fully automated closed-loop cleaning system. This integrated line includes pre-washing, beard removal, and drying, ensuring each mussel is thoroughly cleaned before further processing. First, the mussels slide into a pre-washed trough, where high-powered water jets remove dirt, seaweed, and coarse debris. Some facilities use rotating drum washers equipped with stiff bristled brushes, which tumble the mussels continuously in a spinning chamber while brushing them from multiple angles. Next, the mussels are directed into the central processing chamber, where rotating brush systems scrub the shells and pull off the byssal threads, beards. Throughout the process, low-pressure water sprays maintain moisture and immediately rinse away loosened debris. Finally, the mussels are transferred to a round bar vibrating conveyor, which gently shakes off excess water and dries the product. The vibration also helps separate mussels stuck together or those with residual beards. Thanks to the synchronized action of water, brushes, and mechanical motion, this automated system can clean several tons of mussels per hour, significantly reducing labor costs and processing time, while ensuring consistent quality across every batch of raw material. A conveyor belt with workers stationed alongside awaits just after the cleaning process is completed. Here, the mussels are carefully inspected by hand, with broken shells, dead specimens, mussels with residual debris, or those not fully debearded being manually removed. Although most of the process is automated, it is the eyes and experience of human workers that serve as the final layer of quality control, ensuring that only the best mussels continue to the next processing stages. The conveyor then carries the selected mussels to the packaging area. At the end of the line, mussels slide into a sorting funnel, where the product flow is evenly distributed into mesh bags or specialized sacks below. An automatic weighing system precisely controls the contents of each bag, typically between 1 and 2 kilograms, before the bags are securely sealed using plastic rings or specialized ties. In addition to mesh bags, plastic tray packaging is another preferred option for premium retail markets and restaurants where visual presentation matters. In the tray packing area, mussels are evenly arranged into pre-formed plastic trays in fixed quantities. The trays are then sealed with clear shrink film by an automated machine to ensure hygiene and preserve moisture. Finally, each tray is labeled with complete product information before being sent to chilling and boxing stations. A popular product line in mussel processing is frozen half-shell cooked mussels, commonly supplied to supermarkets and high-end restaurants. After thorough cleaning, the mussels are steam-cooked at low pressure at 95 to 100 degrees Celsius, allowing the meat to be gently pre-cooked and loosened from the shell without damaging its structure. Once steamed, the mussels move along a cooling conveyor, where workers inspect and remove any defective ones. Next, one half of the shell is removed using specialized knives, creating the visually appealing and convenient half-shell mussel product. This step requires skilled hands to preserve the shape and keep the meat firmly attached to the remaining shell. Following this, the mussels are placed into aerated cold water tanks to rinse off shell fragments, quickly lower the temperature, and firm up the meat texture. They are then evenly spread onto a blast freezer conveyor set at -35 degrees Celsius, ensuring each mussel is individually frozen, locking in color, texture, and extending shelf life up to 18 months. Finally, the frozen mussels are automatically portioned into 250 grams to 1 kilogram flexible plastic bags, sealed, packed into labeled cartons, and stored at -18 degrees Celsius. The finished product is ready for distribution to supermarkets, restaurants, and global export markets. Have you ever wondered how humans are able to produce thousands of tons of black pearls of the ocean from such tiny creatures? The journey of mussel farming begins at coastal hatcheries or laboratories, where young mussels, known as spat, are cultivated from wild-collected larvae or through controlled artificial spawning. By adjusting water temperature, salinity, or light, technicians stimulate mature mussels to reproduce. Once eggs and sperm are released, fertilization takes place in incubation tanks, and within 24 hours, they develop into trochophore larvae. Over the next 2 to 3 weeks, the larvae continue to grow while feeding on microalgae in nutrient-rich seawater. Upon reaching the petavillager stage, they begin searching for surfaces to attach to and secrete byssus threads, strong biological fibers that allow them to anchor tightly onto ropes, wooden slats, or mesh substrates in the tanks. With the bouchotte method, a traditional mussel farming technique practiced in France and parts of Europe, the preparation of the farming area plays a crucial role. Farmers must select wide tidal flats with flat seabeds, firm ground free of silt, and regular tidal movements. During the low water season, thousands of wooden poles, each 3 to 5 meters long, are driven vertically into the seabed in neat, straight rows, forming biological walls ready to receive mussel spat. Ropes or mesh are often strung horizontally between the poles to increase the surface area for attachment and prevent mussels from being dislodged by waves. Mussel-laden ropes, already seeded with juvenile mussels, are then wrapped in a spiral around each pole and securely fastened, ensuring stable growth when the tide rises and submerges the farm. This entire process requires not only mechanical support, but also the farmer's experience in timing the tides, determining water depth, wind direction, and spacing of the poles. If placed too densely, the flow of water is restricted, too sparsely, and productivity drops. Once everything is in place, the mussels begin their growth journey in natural seawater, feeding on plankton and gradually forming dense clusters tightly attached to the wooden posts. Called the sea pineapple, have you ever wondered, are they animals or plants? Despite resembling a red pineapple growing on the ocean floor, the sea pineapple is actually a marine animal belonging to the class Acidiaceae, also known as a sea squirt, a primitive creature distantly related to fish and even humans, thanks to possessing a notochord during its larval stage. Its body is encased in a thick, rugged outer tunic, resembling tree bark, which protects the soft, translucent flesh inside. It has two siphons, one for drawing water in and the other for expelling it, used for both feeding and breathing. The edible part is the fleshy tissue surrounding these siphons, pale pink-orange in color, slightly chewy in texture, and retaining the ocean's intense salinity. Sea pineapple is often enjoyed raw as sashimi in Korea and Japan, or pickled to pair with alcohol. Though not widely known around the globe, it is a highly prized delicacy in Northeast Asia. South Korea leads the world in production with 10,000 tons annually, followed by Japan, mainly from its cold northern waters. From there, the sea pineapple generates a value chain worth hundreds of millions of USD each year, driven by aquaculture, exports, and the high-end culinary industry. For those who have never tried this unusual delicacy, imagine biting into a piece of chilled flesh, salty like seawater, lightly briny like fresh seaweed, with a lingering metallic finish on your tongue. Beneath that challenging taste lies a wealth of easily digestible protein, vitamin B12, and most notably, the mineral vanadium, making the sea pineapple not only an exotic treat, but also a potential superfood from the ocean. And no matter how extraordinary the journey, every story has a beginning. For these strange living pineapples, it starts in coastal aquaculture farms, where they are carefully cultivated and nurtured step by step until they are ready to face the open sea. The first step may seem simple, but it plays a crucial role in the entire farming cycle: broodstock selection. Sea pineapples chosen for breeding must be large in size, have a well-proportioned shape, a vibrant red color, and an intact outer shell. They are carefully selected from premium commercial harvests that meet strict standards or sourced from wild catches in the deep sea. Once the selection process is complete, the parent sea pineapples are placed in tanks filled with cleansing seawater, maintained at an ideal temperature of 13 to 15 degrees Celsius, with continuous aeration to ensure optimal dissolved oxygen levels. In this ideal environment, the sea pineapples naturally release sperm and eggs directly into the seawater. Once fertilized, the eggs remain suspended in the tank and develop rapidly. Within just 24 to 48 hours, they hatch into tiny, free-swimming larvae. This is an extremely fragile stage. Survival rates depend heavily on water quality, stable temperature, and the cleanliness of the tank. For this reason, farmers often install biofiltration systems and continuously monitor environmental parameters to ensure a high hatching rate and strong vitality for the larvae. When the larvae begin to move, water from the hatching tanks is transferred to secondary rearing tanks equipped with ropes, plastic mesh, or rough polymer plates. The water containing the larvae passes through a fine mesh to filter out debris before being released directly into the substrate tanks. Here, the larvae instinctively seek out hard surfaces to attach to, a natural behavior. Once attached, they rapidly transform their body structure, losing their tail and notochord, and developing the rough outer tunic characteristic of the species. This marks their transition to a sessile lifestyle, beginning their growth into mature sea pineapples. After about 3 to 4 weeks in the substrate tanks, when the juvenile sea pineapples reach a size of around 0.8 to 1.2 centimeters and are firmly attached to the ropes, farmers transfer the entire rope system to the main farming area in the open sea. These rafts are usually located in clean waters at depths of 5 to 20 meters, with stable temperatures between 10 and 18 degrees Celsius, and gentle currents to ensure a rich supply of plankton. Sea pineapples require no feeding, as they grow by filtering natural food particles from the seawater. Throughout the process, farmers periodically inspect the ropes, clean off mussels, seaweed, and parasites, and monitor the health of each cluster. After about 18 to 24 months on the cold seabed, mature sea pineapples reach a size of 10 to 15 centimeters and an average weight of 200 to 300 grams each, ready for harvest. In highly mechanized farms, harvesting involves machinery from the very start. Long suspension ropes are lifted from the rafts using cranes or pulley systems connected to specialized harvesting vessels, equipped with sea pineapple stripping machines. As the ropes pass through the machine chamber, the sea pineapples are automatically detached by rotating rollers that use a combination of spin and pressure to separate them from the ropes. Once detached, all the sea pineapples are collected into large plastic containers and transported to shore. Some facilities use large mesh bags for holding the harvest, which are then lifted by hydraulic cranes onto trucks or directly to nearby processing docks. In the semi-manual harvesting method, each rope of sea pineapples can hold 100 to 150 mature individuals, with a total weight of up to 45 kilograms per rope. When it's time to harvest, fishermen use winches or manual pulling to lift the entire rope from the sea, securing it to the side of the boat or large floating buoys to minimize impacts that could damage the outer shell. Each trip can bring in dozens of ropes, which are then slowly towed back to shore, where processing facilities are ready to receive them. Though more labor-intensive than full mechanization, this method keeps the sea pineapples in their natural seawater environment until the very last moment, ensuring freshness and reducing biological stress before processing. At the coastal processing facility, stripping machines are operated to maximize productivity. Sea pineapples pass through a continuous system of rotating rollers, swiftly detaching from the ropes at a capacity of 200 to 300 kilograms per hour, several times higher than the manual method, which handles only about 30 to 40 kilograms per hour. Next, the sea pineapples are cleaned using a high-pressure water spray system to remove sand, debris, and any organisms clinging to the shell. A portion is immediately processed on site, with workers extracting the translucent inner flesh, the most valuable part, for direct sale at seafood markets or to local restaurants. However, the majority of the harvest is loaded onto conveyor belts and transferred into specialized transport trucks. Inside each truck, compartments are filled with clean seawater and continuously aerated to maintain maximum freshness during transit. From there, the sea pineapples are delivered to modern processing plants, marking the start of a new chapter in their journey to win over diners who crave the bold, distinctive flavors born from the depths of the sea. At the processing plant, specialized trucks carrying live sea pineapples are received directly at the raw material intake area. Staff quickly inspect each batch to ensure the sea pineapples are still alive, undamaged, and show no signs of reduced freshness. The entire load is then transferred into holding tanks with chilled, circulating seawater to allow the animals to stabilize temporarily before entering the processing line. The sea pineapples are moved to an automated washing system that uses high-pressure seawater jets combined with rotating drums to completely remove sand, oyster shells, encrusting organisms, and other debris from the marine environment. This washing step also helps soften the outer tunic, making the next stage of processing easier and more efficient. To extract the meat, workers use thin knives to make a careful incision along the body, peel back the outer tunic, and gently remove the flesh within. The meat is pale pink-orange or translucent yellow, soft yet slightly chewy, and carries the distinctive briny flavor of the sea. During this process, a dark, almost black mass near the base of the body, the digestive gland and intestine containing waste matter, is revealed. This part is inedible due to its bitter taste and strong fishy odor, and is completely removed either by hand or with specialized cutting tools. Once extracted, the sea pineapple meat is transferred to the packaging area. Depending on its intended use, the product is packed into trays, vacuum-sealed bags, aluminum cans, or large plastic containers. Before sealing, a light spray of diluted brine is applied to the surface to retain moisture and extend shelf life. Finally, the packages are sealed, labeled for traceability, and moved into cold storage, ready for domestic distribution or export. In South Korea, sea pineapple is famous for myeonggae-ho, served raw in sashimi style. After cleaning, the sea pineapple is thinly sliced and served with gochujang chili paste, vinegar, or wasabi, sometimes accompanied by seaweed and soju. This dish is not only common in coastal seafood markets, but also an essential part of traditional drinking gatherings. Sea pineapple is also mixed with white rice, vegetables, sesame oil, and seasonings to make myeonggae bibimbap, an unusual yet popular summer rice dish. Meanwhile, in Japan, sea pineapple, hoya, is often eaten raw with soy sauce and vinegar, sometimes pickled or lightly grilled in small izakaya pubs. Its mild brininess, salty punch, and distinctive metallic aftertaste make it an acquired taste, yet Japanese gourmets praise it as the essence of the cold sea. In both countries, sea pineapple is more than just food. It is part of the coastal culinary identity, bold, authentic, and not for everyone. Did you know that this tiny crustacean has a heart located in its head instead of its chest like most other animals? Interestingly, they are born male, but after about 3 to 4 years living in freezing environments, they transform into females. Smarter than humans, right? When it comes to diet, marine shrimp are omnivores, true cleaners of the ocean floor. They feed on dead fish, small crabs, seaweed, and even mud and sand. This makes them an essential part of maintaining a clean and balanced marine ecosystem. Thanks to cold water conditions, they grow slowly, a process that gives them their sweet flavor and tender texture, making them a prized seafood worth over $60 billion globally each year. As much as 70% of the world's shrimp production is consumed in the United States, Japan, and Europe, in which white-legged shrimp reigns as the superstar of aquaculture due to its massive production, while red shrimp is treasured as a premium delicacy with staggering commercial value. Let's begin our journey in the icy seas of Northern Europe, where cutting-edge fishing technology meets the raw power of nature, and where the prized red shrimp begins its story. There are 5 key factors that determine the success or failure of a shrimp fishing haul, and one of them starts with a step that seems simple, yet plays a critical role: net preparation. Before setting out to sea, every mesh, knot, and mechanical component is carefully inspected. No detail is too small to overlook, because even a single tear could cause an entire haul of precious shrimp to slip away. Like they say, don't count your chickens before they hatch, especially when they're still swimming underwater. Once everything is ready, modern fishing vessels begin cutting through the waves, heading straight for the icy deep sea at the break of dawn. These giant ships, equipped with navigation radar, hydraulic cranes, and industrial freezing systems, leave the harbor one after another, carrying with them the hope of a plentiful shrimp season. Once out in the open sea, all that surrounds them is the vast, icy ocean, where the horizon melts into the water and sky and sea become one. In such an immense and endless space, how do fishermen manage to find the shrimp grounds? The answer lies in nature's subtle signals, like flocks of seabirds. Gulls, for example, often circle and dive repeatedly over areas teeming with small marine life, precisely where shrimp gather to feed. On board, fishermen rely on high-frequency sonar, GPS tracking, and bottom-mapping sensors to scan vast swaths of ocean for signs of shrimp activity. Combining natural signs with modern technology, accurately identifying these fishing grounds becomes the second crucial factor in ensuring a bountiful harvest. Once the shrimp ground has been identified, the next crucial step is the captain's choice of the golden moment to cast the net, the third key factor in the fishing journey. The pulley system and winch drums operate continuously, slowly lowering the massive nets into the icy sea, reaching the shrimp's habitat, typically at depths of 150 to 400 meters, ready for the hunt. Another important and fascinating factor lies in the very design of the shrimp trawl net. This funnel-shaped net has a wide mouth near the seafloor that narrows at the back, held open by otter boards as the vessel moves, forming a giant trap that sweeps the ocean floor. Shrimp drawn into the net are gradually funneled toward its end, where there's no way out. That's exactly why, with a single well-timed cast, fishermen can haul in several tons of shrimp in just one pull. But it's not just about catching more, it's about catching responsibly. What makes these nets even more remarkable is that they're equipped with exclusion systems, such as slanted mesh panels, that allow unwanted species like sea turtles to escape naturally, making the fishing process more selective and environmentally friendly. Each trawl typically lasts from 3 to 6 hours, usually starting between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., the golden window when shrimp are most active near the ocean floor. The exact duration depends on sea conditions and shrimp density in the area. Overhead, seagulls continue to circle the waves, as if sensing a grand feast is about to begin. Weather, the final and often unpredictable factor, plays its part long before the net resurfaces. Every time the net is cast into the deep is a real gamble. It could mean wasting ice, burning fuel, and coming up empty-handed. But this time, the fishermen hit the jackpot. After hours of trawling through the icy waters, the net begins to rise, bloated and unusually heavy. Fresh shrimp, with their signature reddish-orange hue, start peeking through the green mesh like a signal of a successful catch. This job is far from easy, but would you be willing to give it a try, even just once? On deck, the crew works in sync, energetically hauling in the net. The heavy shrimp-filled mesh is lifted from the sea, and each haul can bring in anywhere from several hundred to over 1,000 kilograms of shrimp. Once on deck, the fishermen carefully adjust the net opening and unlock the latch, allowing streams of reddish-pink shrimp to pour out in a rush, tumbling into a large intake funnel at the center of the boat. This marks the beginning of the pre-processing journey, carried out right in the middle of the ocean. From the funnel, the shrimp slide down a long conveyor belt running along the vessel. Workers are stationed on both sides of the belt to perform a preliminary manual inspection. They quickly remove large debris, marine trash, or any bycatch to ensure only clean shrimp move forward into the next stage of processing. After inspection, the shrimp enter a chilled seawater bath maintained at around 0 to -2 degrees Celsius. This step plays a crucial role in temporarily lowering the shrimp's temperature, slowing natural decomposition, and preserving freshness before final cleaning. The cold water also prevents the shrimp from sticking together, making the next stages smoother. Leaving the bath, the shrimp are moved onto a multi-layered conveyor system. This system regulates flow and speed while managing large volumes efficiently. From there, the shrimp are funneled into a series of narrow rinse channels designed to separate out impurities. Lighter materials such as seaweed, small fish, and plastic bits are flushed aside into collection grooves, while the shrimp continue down the main channels. At this stage, these little guys are still not completely clean, so they undergo a thorough wash in vibrating troughs equipped with high-pressure cold water jets. The water used throughout the entire process is filtered seawater, not precious fresh water hauled all the way from land, as some might imagine. Despite the efficiency of this system, a final visual inspection by trained workers is still carried out to catch any remaining impurities or damaged shrimp, ensuring only the highest quality continue to the fascinating freezing stage. After cleaning, the shrimp enter a critical stage, freezing. The first method used is block freezing, a precise and efficient technique. The shrimp are carefully arranged into metal trays or molded plastic bags, then tightly compressed between two steel plates and inserted into a contact blast freezer at around 44 degrees Celsius. Within approximately 3 hours, the entire batch freezes into neat rectangular blocks, ideal for packaging and long-term storage. Once frozen, the shrimp blocks are packed into cartons or boxes. The entire batch is then consolidated, stacked on pallets, and either transferred to refrigerated cargo ships or delivered directly to onshore facilities. This contact freezing method is primarily used for export, preserving premium quality for international markets. For those who prefer their shrimp not sticking together like lifelong best friends, the IQF method is the golden solution. In this process, each shrimp is individually frozen using ultra-cold air at temperatures between -35 degrees Celsius and 45 degrees Celsius, preventing them from clumping, making portioning easier, and perfectly suited for retail or food service industries. After freezing, the shrimp are packed into large loose sacks or bags, instead of being tightly wrapped in paper or molded trays, like in the block freezing method. Meanwhile, another widely used method, immersion in crushed ice or chilled brine, serves as a short-term preservation solution before the shrimp are transported to onshore processing facilities. While this indirect freezing method isn't as fast or precise as contact freezing, it remains widely used due to its flexibility and significantly lower costs, often 3 to 5 times cheaper, making it ideal for small to medium-scale fishing operations and short-haul trips. After 1 to 2 grueling months battling the open sea, the shrimp vessels make their triumphant return to port, hauling in not just tons of catch, but the hard-earned glory of a successful season. At the bustling harbor, dozens of boats dock side by side, and thanks to preservation in ice-filled storage holds, the shrimp retain their pristine freshness. As soon as the ships dock, workers immediately begin unloading the shrimp trays from the chilled compartments. A specialized pulley system is already in place to lift the heavy trays from the ship's deck onto the shore. After being hoisted and gently lowered, each tray of shrimp is emptied into large transport bins. Soon after, forklifts move in to lift the bins and deliver them directly to the processing area for the next stage of their journey. The shrimp are poured directly onto the intake conveyor, marking the start of a fully enclosed processing line inside the factory. As they move steadily forward, the shrimp pass through a series of high-pressure cold water jets that wash away dirt, impurities, and small debris. Once cleaned, they continue onto an elevated conveyor for draining and preparation for the next stage. Next, the shrimp stream is divided into multiple lanes for precise size grading, a crucial step to ensure uniformity in packaging, cooking, and pricing. To make sure these shrimp don't get any funny ideas about returning to the ocean, they're gently steamed at 95 degrees Celsius for 3 to 5 minutes. It's a short, steamy goodbye that locks in their sweetness and ensures they're deliciously safe for dinner, not escape. After steaming, the shrimp move on to one of the most advanced and essential stages of the production line: automatic shelling. The shrimp are fed into rotating drum channels with soft brushes that gently remove the shells, while high-pressure water jets wash them away, leaving clean, intact shrimp behind. The automatic shelling system can process up to 2,000 to 3,000 shrimp per minute, 10 times faster than manual methods, while ensuring near-perfect uniformity and precision. The result is perfectly peeled shrimp with a clean pink-white appearance, moving steadily along the conveyor belt to the final inspection stage. To preserve freshness and prevent bacterial growth, the shrimp are then rapidly chilled using ultra-cold air for 2 to 4 minutes. Next, the shrimp are transferred onto a gently vibrating conveyor belt. This vibration evenly distributes the shrimp, prevents them from sticking together, and ensures uniform cooling across the entire surface of each shrimp. They then move on to the final sorting line, where trained workers manually inspect each shrimp, removing any that are damaged, undersized, or have off color, ensuring that only those meeting strict quality standards proceed to the next stage. After passing strict sorting, the qualified shrimp are sent to the automated packaging zone, the final step in the modern processing line. Each portion is packed into specialized plastic bags through a high-speed system, handling up to 80 bags per minute. But wild-caught shrimp, making up less than 40% of global production, has always been reserved for the premium market and can never meet the demands of 8 billion people. That's why the real game lies in the extraordinary world of shrimp farming across Asia, the largest supply source on the planet.
Before we head into the modern salmon processing factories, let's uncover some fascinating secrets about these ocean warriors and their remarkable journey on fishing vessels. The starting point of their mission to bring ocean's finest delicacy to tables around the world. Let's begin in Norway, the capital of the global salmon industry. Each year, this Nordic powerhouse exports over 1 million tons of salmon, enough to produce around 5 billion pieces of sushi, making salmon a true icon of sophistication in global cuisine. Alongside Norway, Chile, Canada, and the United States are also major salmon producers, contributing to the nearly $35 billion that the salmon industry generates annually. What makes salmon truly extraordinary is their epic upstream journey. Despite living in cold ocean waters as deep as 300 meters, when spawning season arrives, salmon undertake a grueling journey, swimming thousands of miles upstream, battling fierce rapids, and evading predators to return to their birthplace, where they fulfill their life's mission of sustaining the next generation. It's not just instinct, it's a natural miracle. Here comes August, the harvest season. The icy waters of the North Atlantic come alive as hundreds of fishing boats set out to sea, cutting through the waves. Fishermen, hardened by the ocean's challenges, skillfully haul in shimmering silver catches. The triumphant sound of cheers echoes across the ocean as they conquer the waves and bring home the ocean's treasure. When the radar detects a school of salmon swimming beneath a deep blue surface, the crew springs into action. A massive net is deployed in a circular formation, gradually tightening into a giant underwater pouch that surrounds the salmon. As the net is slowly pulled up, the sunlight reflects off the shimmering silver scales of the salmon, a satisfying reward for a successful trip to sea. As soon as the salmon are hauled onto the deck, they are immediately transferred to chilled water tanks to preserve their freshness and firm texture. The cold water helps maintain the quality of the fish before they are transported to processing plants. Once they leave the ocean, these silver treasures continue their journey to cutting-edge processing facilities. At the factory, the salmon are immediately loaded onto an automated conveyor belt, where they are neatly arranged before passing through the automatic head-cutting machine. With razor-sharp blades and advanced sensor systems, the machine can process up to 3,600 fish per hour, cutting off the heads with remarkable precision without damaging the delicate flesh. Next, the salmon are sent to the cleaning machine. High-pressure water jets, combined with soft rollers and rotating brushes, wash away all the slime, blood, and bacteria on the fish's skin, ensuring that the salmon meet the highest hygiene standards. After the initial cleaning, the fish are transferred to the trimming and splitting machine. This advanced machine precisely trims the dorsal and belly fins, while simultaneously splitting the fish into two perfect halves along the backbone. The backbone and tail are removed in the same step, thanks to the machine's sharp blades and smart sensor system. With a capacity of 3,000 fish per hour, this powerhouse of a machine speeds up the processing time by tens of times compared to traditional manual methods. Even though machines handle most of the work, human hands still play a crucial role in perfecting the final product. After trimming and cleaning, skilled workers carefully inspect each fillet. They use sharp knives to remove any excess flesh or fat that the machine may have missed, ensuring that only the most tender, vibrant red salmon meat remains. Each fillet moves to the automatic weighing and sorting system. The high-tech sensors and optical scanners detect any defects, such as bruising or imperfections in the flesh, ensuring that only top-quality fillets proceed to the next stage. The machine also sorts the fillets by size and weight, guaranteeing consistency across the final product. Next comes the deboning stage. The fillets pass through an automatic deboning machine equipped with ultra-fine needles that extract any remaining pin bones without damaging the meat's texture. After this, workers double-check each fillet by hand to ensure that not a single bone is left behind. For smoked salmon, once the bones are removed, the fillets are sent to the curing stage. A mixture of salt, sugar, and herbs is evenly sprinkled over the surface of the salmon. This curing process enhances the fish's natural flavor and improves its texture. The curing time ranges from 6 to 24 hours, depending on the thickness of the fillet and the desired taste. After curing, the salmon is transferred to the smoking chamber. There are two primary smoking methods: cold smoking and hot smoking. Cold smoking takes place at a low temperature of 25 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius, producing a delicate flavor and a smooth, silky texture. On the other hand, hot smoking is done at a higher temperature of 50 degrees Celsius to 80 degrees, creating a stronger smoky flavor and firmer texture. The smoking process can last anywhere from 4 to 24 hours, depending on the type of wood used. oak, and maple being the most popular choices for their rich aroma and flavor. Once smoked, the salmon is cooled and then sliced. Each slice is cut with precision to ensure uniform thickness. The slices are then vacuum sealed to lock in freshness and flavor. Smoked salmon products are stored at a temperature of 0 degrees Celsius to 3 degrees Celsius to preserve their natural smoky taste until they reach the consumer's table. Meanwhile, for salmon fillets, once the bones are removed, the fillets are transferred to the skinning machine. The machine uses ultra-thin blades to carefully remove the skin without cutting into the meat, preserving the soft, fatty texture of the fillet. After skinning, depending on market demand, the fillets can either be packed whole or cut into smaller portions. If cut into portions, the fillets are scanned by an optical machine that measures the size and weight of each piece. The automated cutting machine then slices them with remarkable speed and precision, ensuring that each piece meets the exact size and weight standards. The blades are so sharp and fast that they can cut through a fillet in less than a second. So fast that if the fillet were alive, it wouldn't even have time to breathe before the next slice was made. The fillets are then vacuum packed, ready for export or distribution to supermarkets and restaurants. Salmon fillets are typically stored at a temperature of -1 degree Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius in cold storage facilities to maintain their freshness and quality. This closed-loop processing system, which combines modern technology with expert craftsmanship, produces top-quality salmon fillets and smoked salmon. From cool, refreshing sashimi slices to buttery pan-seared fillets and rich, smoky salmon, each product is the result of a carefully designed and professional production process. So, which one do you prefer? Smoked salmon or fresh fillets? Don't hesitate to leave a comment and share your thoughts with us. But hey, have you ever wondered about the extraordinary journey of a salmon from the ocean to your plate? Trust me, you'll be amazed by the incredible process that makes it all possible. When the spawning season arrives, salmon leave the ocean and swim hundreds of miles upstream, battling rapids, waterfalls, and predators to reach the gravel-filled riverbeds where they dig nests, lay eggs, and fertilize them. Once their mission is complete, the salmon are usually exhausted and die, providing nutrients that enrich the ecosystem. To protect salmon populations and improve survival rates, fish farms have built artificial dams and fish ladders to guide salmon upstream, monitor their health, and support the spawning process. Healthy salmon are selected and transferred to large holding tanks, where the environment is carefully simulated to maximize spawning success. At salmon hatcheries, before collecting the eggs, the salmon are calmed by placing them in tanks with dissolved CO2 or mild anesthetics to reduce stress. The male and female salmon are then separated to begin the fertilization process. Female salmon are placed on a specialized table where technicians make a small incision in the belly to carefully extract the plump, bright orange eggs. At the same time, sperm from the male salmon is also carefully collected. The eggs and sperm are then mixed together in clean, blood-free water. Fertilization happens quickly, and the fertilized eggs are placed into specialized incubation trays with a gentle flow of water and a stable temperature of around 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. After about 2 weeks, the eyes of the developing salmon begin to form inside the eggs. Between 45 and 60 days later, the baby salmon break through the eggshell, entering the sac fry stage, where they rely on their yolk sac for nutrition. Once the yolk sac is absorbed, the young salmon enter the fry stage, where they begin to swim and feed on their own. Once the young salmon are strong enough, they are transferred to large farming tanks, where the water conditions mimic brackish coastal environments, helping them adjust to saltwater. The salinity, temperature and oxygen levels are carefully controlled to recreate the natural conditions of the ocean. The salmon are fed a high-quality diet of fish meal, fish oil, plant-based proteins, and essential minerals to ensure healthy growth. The farming pens are made from rust-resistant, high-strength materials and are equipped with underwater cameras and sensors to monitor fish health and detect any abnormalities. After about 9 months, when the salmon have reached a suitable size and are fully adapted to salt water, they undergo a final health check before being released into rivers near the ocean. At this point, the salmon's bodies adjust to salt water, and they begin a new chapter of their journey into the vast ocean. So, the journey of salmon has come to an end. But don't put away your fishing gear just yet. A new adventure is on the horizon, and I promise you'll be hooked by what's coming next.
Sturgeon caviar, often referred to as black gold, is a delicacy prized for its rich flavor, smooth texture, and luxurious appeal. The eggs, ranging in color from golden amber to deep black, are carefully harvested from sturgeon, a prehistoric fish that has existed for over 200 million years. These ancient creatures, known for their elongated bodies and bony plates, are among the oldest living species on Earth. In sustainable aquaculture environments, sturgeon are nurtured with care to ensure their health and the quality of their caviar. Depending on the species, it takes anywhere from 8 to 20 years for a sturgeon to reach maturity and produce eggs suitable for harvesting. This long growth period, coupled with meticulous farming practices, makes sturgeon caviar one of the most labor-intensive and valuable food products in the world. When sturgeon are ready, ultrasound or non-invasive methods are used to evaluate the size and quality of the roe. Only sturgeon with eggs that meet the required standards are selected for the harvesting process. The process of harvesting sturgeon roe or caviar is a delicate procedure requiring precision, expertise, and strict adherence to quality standards. It begins with preparing the sturgeon in a way that ensures the eggs retain their optimal quality. Sturgeon are placed in controlled environments with clean, temperature-regulated water, ensuring minimal stress on the fish. This care is critical, as stress or poor conditions can compromise the quality of the roe, affecting both its texture and flavor. When the sturgeon is ready for harvesting, the fish is gently rendered unconscious, typically through cold water immersion or other humane methods. This ensures the procedure is as stress-free as possible, which is crucial for preserving the integrity of the roe. Once the fish is immobilized, the skilled technician makes a precise incision along the abdomen to access the roe sacs. This step requires steady hands and in-depth knowledge of sturgeon anatomy to avoid damaging the eggs or harming the fish unnecessarily. The quality of caviar largely depends on the skills of the person performing the extraction. The technician must carefully remove the roe sacs, ensuring the eggs remain intact. A high level of precision is needed, as even slight mishandling can lead to ruptured eggs, which diminishes their value. The sacs are then immediately rinsed and cleaned to remove blood, tissue, or other contaminants, ensuring the harvested roe is pristine and ready for further processing. Timing is a critical factor in the harvesting process. Sturgeon must be harvested at the exact right stage of egg maturity. If harvested too early, the eggs may lack the desired texture and flavor. If harvested too late, the eggs can become overly firm or lose their signature delicacy. To determine the optimal time, farmers use non-invasive methods like ultrasound to such high-value caviar. The primary requirement is a reliable and pristine water source. Sturgeons thrive in clean, oxygen-rich environments with stable temperatures, typically ranging between 50 degrees Fahrenheit to 64 degrees Fahrenheit. The water must be free from pollutants, heavy metals, and harmful chemicals to ensure the health and growth of the fish. Additionally, maintaining optimal water flow and proper filtration systems is crucial to mimic their natural habitat and prevent the buildup of waste products. Adequate space and appropriate tank or pond design also play a significant role in reducing stress and promoting the well-being of the sturgeons. providing the right diet is crucial for raising sturgeons that produce healthy eggs. A balanced and high-quality feed ensures optimal growth and reproductive health. Sturgeons thrive on a diet rich in proteins, typically sourced from fish meal, shrimp, and other marine ingredients, which are essential for egg development. Additionally, incorporating vitamins and minerals, such as vitamin E and selenium, supports the immune system and enhances egg quality. Natural foods like live brine shrimp, daphnia, and algae can be included to mimic their natural diet and stimulate feeding behaviors. It is important to offer feed in appropriate sizes to prevent overfeeding and ensure efficient nutrient absorption. The harvesting and processing of sturgeon roe is a delicate and meticulous journey that transforms these precious eggs into the world-renowned caviar. From ensuring optimal living conditions for the sturgeons to the precise techniques used in extracting and packaging the roe, every step is executed with utmost care and expertise. The dedication to maintaining quality and sustainability not only preserves the integrity of the caviar, but also supports the future of sturgeon farming. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you in the next video. China is currently the world's largest producer of salt, with an annual output of up to 70 million tons. With coastal salt fields spanning thousands of hectares, the United States ranks second, but leads in cutting-edge extraction technologies and advanced automation systems. Throughout history, salt has been far more than just a seasoning. It was once used as currency, a strategic weapon, and today remains a billion-dollar industry spanning continents. But have you ever wondered how salt is actually formed? Accounting for nearly 60% of global salt production, sea salt is the most common and accessible type. As seawater evaporates under the sun in shallow salt ponds, the salt concentration gradually increases until it reaches saturation, causing sodium chloride to crystallize into shimmering white layers that sparkle like crystal. An adult needs around 4 to 5 grams of salt per day to maintain blood pressure, nerve function, and internal balance. But when consumed in excess, salt becomes a silent killer, leading to high blood pressure, heart failure, kidney damage, and other serious complications. And now, join us as we begin the journey to the birthplace of salt, where sunlight, wind, and human hands come together to create the glistening white gold that has sustained civilizations for thousands of years. Every December, as the weather turns dry, sunny, and low in rainfall, ideal conditions for salt crystallization, the coastal salt farms begin a new production season. Farmers start by restoring the entire salt field system in preparation for the journey of harvesting white gold. Storage ponds, concentration ponds, and crystallization beds are thoroughly dredged, leveled, and reinforced with solid dikes to retain water. The pond bottoms are either paved with dark cement or compacted with clay to prevent seepage and enhance heat absorption, accelerating the evaporation process. A standard salt field system typically consists of 3 main zones: a settling pond to purify incoming seawater, a concentration pond to increase salinity, and a crystallization bed, where bright white salt crystals slowly take shape under the coastal sun and wind. Once the salt field system is ready, seawater is channeled into the first settling pond through shallow ground-level canals or pipelines connected directly to the sea. Each settling pond can hold up to 500,000 liters of water. Timing is crucial. Water must be drawn in during high tide to capture optimal salinity. A delay of just a few hours can disrupt the entire crystallization process that follows. There, it is held for 1 to 3 days to allow sediment, sand, algae, and plankton to settle, effectively purifying the water before it enters the crystallization stage. After this settling and filtration process, farmers use salinity meters to check whether the brine has reached the appropriate saturation level for salt to begin crystallizing. This precise measurement helps regulate the salt concentration, ensuring even formation and high-quality harvests. When the seawater reaches the desired salinity, it is channeled through small ditches into evaporation ponds, where natural sunlight and wind gradually evaporate the water. At the concentration pond, seawater continues to undergo natural evaporation under the combined effects of sunlight and coastal winds. As the water gradually evaporates, the salinity rises from an initial 3 to 5% to around 20 to 25%. This process can take anywhere from several days to over a week, depending on sunlight intensity, wind speed, and humidity. When the salt concentration reaches the optimal range of 24 to 26%, the brine is transferred to the crystallization beds, areas with wide, flat surfaces that are carefully treated with black cement or compacted clay to prevent seepage and maximize heat absorption. Here, the brine is maintained at a shallow depth of just 3 to 5 centimeters, an ideal level that allows sunlight and wind to penetrate effectively, accelerating evaporation in a consistent manner. After about 2 to 5 days, sodium chloride crystals begin to form from the bottom up, creating a bright, evenly grained layer of salt that's easy to harvest. Interestingly, the crystallization process doesn't occur as individual grains, but rather as thin sheets that can peel off in large flakes. In small-scale salt production areas, or regions where salt flats are uneven, with soft soil or sandy surfaces that limit the use of machinery, traditional manual harvesting remains the primary method. Simple tools like bamboo rakes, aluminum shovels, and hand-pulled carts become indispensable companions for salt farmers in their daily effort to collect the precious white gold. Salt is gathered into small piles, then loaded onto carts or specialized transport vehicles and moved to collection points in preparation for storage and distribution. The work demands endurance and precision, as it often takes place under intense sunlight, with the reflective surface of the salt field amplifying the heat and creating an extremely harsh working environment. Despite the laborious nature of the job, income for salt workers is often unstable, depending heavily on harvest volume and fluctuating market prices. Yet for those who have devoted their lives to it, salt farming is more than just a livelihood. It is a source of pride, deeply tied to the culture and traditions of coastal communities. For large-scale salt fields, mechanized harvesting is the optimal choice, boosting productivity while significantly reducing manual labor. Today, self-propelled salt harvesters, equipped with front blades and inclined conveyor systems, are among the most commonly used machines in modern salt production. These machines shorten collection time and improve transportation efficiency. Instead of serving merely as transport equipment like earlier models, modern self-propelled salt harvesters now integrate all key functions: scraping, collecting, and storing salt into a single machine. A front-mounted blade pushes the crystallized salt toward the center, where an auger conveyor lifts it into a rear storage compartment with a capacity of several tons. This type of machine is now widely used in large-scale salt fields across the United States, Australia, and several Middle Eastern countries, regions that demand high efficiency and advanced automation. Whether harvested by hand or machine, the salt is ultimately transported to storage areas where it is preserved before distribution. From there, it may be sold as coarse, raw salt or sent to refining facilities where it is processed into fine purified crystals, suitable for cooking and food manufacturing. At facilities dedicated to raw salt production, trucks loaded with salt from crystallization fields are driven directly to the material intake area. The salt is dumped into a receiving hopper connected to a conveyor system that transports it into the processing plant. Here, workers perform an initial visual inspection, removing visible impurities such as trash, seashells, stones, or other foreign objects mixed in with the salt. Next, the salt passes through a rotating crusher that breaks apart large clumps and loosens the material, ensuring more uniform grain size. The final stop is the packaging area, where the salt is measured into evenly portioned bags, then sealed using either heat sealing machines or industrial stitching to prevent moisture intrusion and allow for easier transportation. At this stage, the salt retains most of its natural minerals, making it ideal for food preservation, water treatment, or industrial uses such as chemical production, de-icing roads, and water softening. At refined salt processing plants, raw salt is first unloaded into a feed hopper, which connects directly to an automated conveyor system that carries it into the main production line. In the first stage, the salt is transferred into multi-stage washing tanks, where fresh water is used to remove fine sand, silt, dissolved impurities, and any remaining microorganisms. In some modern systems, the washing process is enhanced with vibrating screens and centrifugal separators, which help extract both heavy and light contaminants with maximum efficiency, without dissolving the valuable salt crystals. After the washing step, the salt is transferred into a tank or automatic dissolving unit to form a brine solution. Here, the salt is dissolved in hot water or a concentrated salt solution to reach a saturated state, meaning the highest possible salt concentration. The solution is continuously stirred to accelerate the dissolving process and improve efficiency. Next, the saturated brine solution is passed through a multi-stage filtration system to remove dissolved impurities such as calcium ions, magnesium, heavy metals, and any remaining insoluble residues. The filtration equipment may include settling tanks, pressure filters, sand filters, activated carbon filters, or the use of chemical precipitants like soda ash, NaCO3, or lime, CaOH2, to eliminate calcium and magnesium. To produce batches of pure white salt, the clean brine solution must be crystallized using a vacuum crystallization system or multi-effect evaporators, where temperature and pressure are tightly controlled. The evaporation of water under vacuum conditions causes the salt to recrystallize into fine, uniform granules. After crystallization, the wet salt crystals are sent through a centrifuge to remove excess moisture, producing semi-dry salt. This salt is then transferred to a hot air drying chamber, where the temperature is carefully controlled to fully dry the salt crystals without causing clumping or degradation. This drying process typically uses a fluidized bed dryer or a continuous belt dryer system. After drying, the salt may be cooled using air to prevent it from reabsorbing moisture when exposed to the external environment. Depending on its intended use, the salt is then ground into various particle sizes, such as fine salt, powdered salt, table salt, or industrial salt. Grinding and screening machines ensure uniformity and consistent quality of the final product. The salt crystals are separated into different sizes using vibrating screens or air classification, ensuring the final product meets uniformity and technical standards. Once refined, the salt is transported to an automated packaging line. This system can pack it into 500 grams or 1 kilograms consumer bags, as well as larger industrial sacks ranging from 25 kilograms to 50 kilograms. Each batch undergoes strict quality control checks, including moisture content, purity, iodine levels, and microbial presence. Products that meet the standards are stored and then distributed to the market. But you might wonder, what happens to all that water used in the process? Is it simply discarded? Not at all. In fact, modern salt refining plants are equipped with integrated wastewater treatment systems to ensure environmental safety. Wastewater from washing, filtering, and drying stages is treated using physical, chemical, or biological methods. Once purified, this water can be reused in non-food contact applications, such as cooling systems or equipment surface cleaning. This approach not only reduces operational costs, but also aligns with sustainable production standards. In addition to common sea salt, there are also rare and valuable types like Korean bamboo salt, which can cost many times more due to its unique mineral content and a painstaking production process that takes weeks or even months to complete. This unique type of salt originates from Korea, and has been used in traditional medicine as a detoxifier and digestive aid. Bamboo salt begins with natural sea salt, but instead of being refined, it is packed into sections of fresh bamboo, which are then sealed at both ends with volcanic clay. These bamboo tubes filled with salt are fired in a kiln at extremely high temperatures, ranging from 800 degrees to over 1,300 degrees. And the process can be repeated 3 to 9 times depending on the grade of the salt. The first firing removes impurities, while subsequent firings enhance mineral content and trigger chemical reactions between the salt, bamboo, and clay. During the firing process, the salt changes color, from white to purple, gray, or metallic hues, and its crystal structure is transformed. It loses the harsh sharpness of regular salt and develops a more mellow taste with subtle mineral undertones. Remarkably, bamboo salt is highly alkaline, with a pH between 10 and 12, and is believed to neutralize excess acid in the body, aid in treating stomach ulcers, detoxify the liver, eliminate heavy metals, and cleanse the mouth. Compared to refined sea salt, which is primarily pure NaCl, bamboo salt is almost a controlled chemical transformation, crafted through traditional methods. Each batch can take several days to weeks to complete and consumes a large amount of raw material. Producing 1 kilogram of 9 times roasted bamboo salt may require over 10 kilograms of raw sea salt, along with meticulous labor. This explains why bamboo salt commands such a high price, especially the 9 times roasted variety, which can cost as much as $200, $300 per kilogram, and is often sold in small containers as a health supplement rather than used as a daily seasoning. If Portugal is the sardine factory of the world, where shimmering silver shoals are harvested, processed, and exported to over 45 countries under renowned brands like Ramirez and Nuri, then the United States is the bottomless consumer machine, spending over $50 million annually to import sardines and integrate them into every corner of fast food culture, from convenient sandwich slices to refreshing, nutrient-packed salads. Compared to canned tuna, sardines are not only 30 to 50% cheaper, but they also offer a range of superior benefits. Higher omega-3 content, rich in calcium since the bones are edible, and a more ocean-friendly profile thanks to their sustainable harvesting practices. Sardines aren't just nutrient-rich, they once sparked an economic miracle in the heart of America. In 1903, as Monterey, California was drowning in a deep economic crisis, sardines arrived en masse like a wave of salvation. In a matter of years, this humble fish fueled a booming canning industry, created thousands of jobs, and transformed a fading seaside town into the sardine capital of the world. Every journey has its beginning. Join me as we set sail for the fishing grounds of the Atlantic Ocean, where the night sky bursts into light under powerful floodlamps, and specialized fleets kick off the sardine hunt, chasing a tiny fish that brings to life some of the most breathtaking dances beneath the sea. The sardine harvesting season stretches from late spring to early autumn, when coastal waters begin to warm and shimmering silver shoals gather in massive waves. Unlike tuna, which must be caught one by one on a line, or mackerel, which require traditional drift nets, sardines are harvested using a method as strange as it is spectacular: light trapping. At night, these specialized vessels switch on dozens of high-intensity lights, transforming the sea's surface into a stage lit by artificial suns. The glow triggers the sardines' predatory instincts, drawing them to the surface as if hypnotized. And by day, enormous purse seine nets lie in wait beneath the sun, ready to silently encircle the glistening silver shoals in an instant. No hooks, no chase, just perfect timing. Although sardines are small, they move in massive schools, sometimes weighing hundreds of tons, making their capture a task that requires advanced technology. On modern fishing vessels, radar and sonar systems are used to scan vast areas of ocean and accurately detect the movement of sardine schools swimming deep beneath the surface. Once the equipment identifies the distinctive flow of sardines, the captain swiftly maneuvers the vessel into position, while the crew gets ready to deploy a purse-seine net. The net is cast around the school of fish, then drawn tight at the bottom with a cable, like cinching the mouth of a bag, trapping the entire school in an instant. After being hauled aboard, the sardines are quickly transferred into large ice bins or deep freeze holds at -20°C to 25°C to preserve their freshness throughout the long journey at sea. As soon as the vessel docks, the catch is sent through a grading machine to separate the fish by size. They are then packed into sealed, insulated containers with ice inside. These containers are immediately transported to canning factories, ready for the next stage in a fully closed-loop processing system. Upon arrival at the factory, the sardines are transferred into large brine tanks. Workers carefully sprinkle coarse salt over each layer of fish to ensure even absorption. The sardines are left to soak in the brine for 2 to 6 hours, which helps firm up the flesh, enhance the flavor, and preserve the natural taste of the sea. After brining, the fish are poured into large holding containers, from which they are conveyed onto an automated conveyor belt to begin the cleaning process. As the belt moves forward, high-pressure water jets, delivering up to 50 liters per minute, spray cold water directly onto the fish. This powerful stream thoroughly washes away any excess salt, sand, or impurities clinging to the fish, ensuring they are perfectly clean and ready for the next steps. Once cleaned, the sardines enter an automated sorting system, a critical stage often referred to as the strategic routing station of the entire processing line. Here, rotating discs with diameters ranging from 5 to 10 centimeters act like giant sieves, sorting the fish by size. Smaller ones gently drop to the lower conveyor for secondary processing, while larger ones continue along the main line, destined to become premium canned products. With a throughput of up to 5 tons per hour, this system not only ensures fast and accurate sorting, but also guarantees that each finished can of sardines meets the highest standards of uniformity and quality. Once the sorting stage is complete, each sardine seems to have found its rightful place, gliding smoothly along the conveyor belt toward the pre-processing area. Unlike tuna or salmon, with their large bodies and thick flesh, sardines are smaller, more delicate, and prone to damage if mishandled. Their fine bones, thin skin, and high natural oil content make them particularly susceptible to spoilage and flavor loss if not processed properly. That's why pre-processing is not just a preparatory step. It is the critical dividing line between a perfect can of sardines and a failed product. In the pre-processing zone, workers wearing thin gloves swiftly remove the heads and guts of each fish while inspecting them visually and by smell. Spoiled sardines typically give off a slightly sour or sharply fishy odor. Thanks to their experience and sharp senses, each worker can handle over 1,000 sardines per hour while maintaining the fish's intact appearance. After cleaning, the sardines are carefully arranged in stainless steel baskets, specially designed with small drainage holes to allow water to escape quickly without bruising the fish. Each sardine is placed neatly by hand to preserve its shape and freshness before moving on to the next stage. Once the baskets are full, an automated conveyor system carries them to the final rinsing area. Here, cold water sprays at high pressure form gentle streams that envelop each fish, washing away any remaining impurities while preserving their shiny skin and delicate structure. While manual pre-processing ensures precision and flexibility, in large-scale factories, technology takes the lead role. Automated cutting systems equipped with smart sensors can detect the size and position of each fish, trimming off unwanted parts in just seconds. As a result, these machines can process between 5,000 and 7,000 sardines per hour, significantly boosting overall production efficiency. After being thoroughly cleaned and neatly arranged, the gleaming sardines are placed into small tin cans on an automated conveyor belt by skilled workers, With swift and precise hands, they carefully position each fish to ensure uniform quantity and size in every can. Each worker can complete 30 to 40 cans per minute, maintaining a seamless and synchronized production line. In addition to manual canning, some modern factories are equipped with automated canning systems to increase productivity and ensure product consistency. These machines can place sardines into cans quickly and accurately, reducing processing time while maintaining quality. With the support of technology, the canning process becomes more efficient and ready for the next stages. To enhance flavor and create a distinctive touch for each product, workers add natural ingredients to every can. A few thin slices of carrot, a couple of bay leaves, or a hint of green peppercorns, all blending together to balance the rich taste of the fish with the fresh aroma of the spices. Once delicately garnished with these natural seasonings, each can is completed with the addition of water, an essential element to preserve flavor and texture during the cooking process. An automated filling machine gently pours 100 to 150 milliliters of filtered water into each can, ensuring the right moisture level for the upcoming steaming stage. Once the water and seasonings are properly balanced, the sardine cans enter the steaming stage, a crucial step that determines both quality and safety. Inside industrial steamers maintained at 230 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, the fish is fully sterilized, ensuring long-term preservation. As small, short-lived plankton feeders, sardines accumulate virtually no mercury. This allows the process to focus entirely on maximizing freshness and flavor, a rare advantage in the world of canned fish. As soon as the freshly steamed sardine cans come out of the oven, they are allowed to cool before continuing to the next stage. Once the temperature stabilizes, the cans pass through an automated oil filling system, where about 20 to 30 milliliters of extra virgin olive oil is poured into each can, evenly coating the fish to enhance flavor and ensure rich, natural taste. Thanks to their soft, edible bones after cooking, sardines are often packed whole to preserve their full flavor and appearance in the luscious layer of oil. However, for certain premium product lines, the bones are carefully removed after steaming to offer a smoother, more refined experience for the consumer. Finally, the sardine cans are transferred to an automated sealing system. Each lid is vacuum sealed, removing all air inside, helping to preserve the freshness and distinctive flavor of the fish over time. After sealing, the cans pass through a clean water bath at approximately 4 degrees Celsius, cold enough to wash off any remaining olive oil without affecting the can's integrity. This rinsing process lasts about 2 to 3 minutes. Once clean, workers gently dry each can with soft cloths to ensure they are spotless and oil-free. Next, the sardine cans enter a high-pressure steam sterilization chamber, where they are treated at temperatures up to 248 degrees Fahrenheit, around 120 degrees Celsius, for approximately 30 minutes. This step eliminates any remaining bacteria while preserving the fish's natural flavor. Finally, the cans move to the packaging line, where they are carefully packed into cardboard boxes, typically 24 cans per box, depending on can size. Once packed, the boxes are transferred to a cold storage facility maintained at around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, ensuring the sardines retain their freshness and flavor throughout storage. Leaving behind the cold steel lines and hurried rhythms of the factory, we enter a different world. The deep ocean, where sardines are no longer just a canned delicacy, but a vital link in a fierce dance of survival. Here, the water churns with relentless chases and waves surge with the dives of hungry predators. Though small, sardines set the tempo for the vast biological symphony unfolding offshore. Measuring just 15 to 20 centimeters in length, but forming schools of millions, sardines are the perfect prey of the sea. Rich in nutrients and easy to spot, they become targets for tuna, sharks, seabirds, seals, whales, and more. Their synchronized movements create massive live bait balls that draw predators from hundreds of kilometers away. For tireless hunters like sharks, sardines are among the most irresistible moving feasts the ocean has to offer. If there's a creature that could live long enough to witness your birth, your growth, your wedding, and even your departure from this world, it's the turtle. Not only is it a symbol of longevity, the turtle is also a surprising case of industrial evolution. Today, over 88% of the world's commercial turtle supply comes from China, where turtles are farmed like chickens, tracked with RFID chips, and exported by the millions each year. Meanwhile, the United States has become a living museum, home to over 50 rare turtle species thriving in its diverse ecosystems. People often say turtles are slow, but that's not always true. Take the Florida softshell turtle, for example. It can glide underwater at speeds of up to 10 kilometers per hour. And when winter comes, some turtles survive by breathing through their butts. It sounds bizarre, but it's real. They absorb oxygen through a cloacal membrane while resting beneath layers of ice for months, without even using their lungs. Not every turtle gets chosen to become a future parent for the next generation. On commercial farms, only the healthiest individuals are selected, typically weighing between 2.5 to 4 kilograms, with smooth, thick shells free from scratches or deformities. Another key factor is reproductive history, often tracked through detailed records from breeding farms. Female turtles that have laid multiple clutches with high hatch rates are given priority in the selection process. But breeding is a game of risk. Overusing the same elite genetic lines for too many generations can increase the risk of inbreeding, leading to weaker offspring that are more vulnerable to environmental stress and disease. Once selected, softshell turtles enter a special preparation phase. They are transferred to semi-natural ponds with water depths of 30 to 40 centimeters and constant flow to mimic natural living conditions. Here, the future mothers are nourished with high-protein diets, minced fresh fish, apple snails, chicken liver, combined with regular supplements of calcium and minerals. It's all aimed at one goal: helping them develop healthy, strong-shelled eggs with high hatch success rates. Unlike geese or ducks, where hatchlings are cared for, led by their mother to forage just moments after hatching, a mother turtle never gets to meet her young. But before she leaves, she fulfills her final instinct with precision, using her 2 hind legs to dig a deep nest where she lays 25 to 40 ivory-colored eggs, each coated in a layer of mucus, a kind of biological armor that protects the embryo during its most fragile stage. Then, with slow and deliberate movements, she pushes sand back over the hole. This sand blanket helps retain warmth and moisture while concealing the nest from predators, birds, rodents, snakes, and other reptiles. A quiet act, but precise, one that gives the next generation a better chance to begin life. As soon as the mother turtle leaves, farm staff quickly begin collecting the eggs from newly laid nests. The scene resembles a treasure excavation. Sand is carefully brushed away, revealing clusters of precious eggs resting quietly beneath. Depending on the size of the farm and the number of turtles nesting, a single harvest can yield anywhere from a few hundred to several thousand eggs. All are collected, cleaned of any remaining sand, and then transferred immediately to the incubation area. The incubation process marks the first step in the softshell turtle's journey of rebirth, where each egg is carefully collected and placed into specialized plastic baskets. Between each layer of eggs, fine sand is added, pre-treated with disinfectants to prevent mold, parasites, and bacteria. The baskets are then transferred into incubation chambers, where the temperature is carefully maintained between 29 to 32 degrees Celsius. Turtle's sex isn't defined by genetics, but by temperature. Just a 1 to 2 degrees Celsius shift can cause an entire batch to hatch as all males or all females. While we wait for the farm-raised turtle eggs to hatch, join me as we head out to the open sea. to witness the raw and challenging nesting journey of wild sea turtles. While soft-shell turtles are carefully raised in farms with stable environments, clean water, and tailored nutrition, sea turtles out in the vast ocean face a wild and unforgiving journey for survival. No radar, no compass. Yet for millions of years, sea turtles have silently navigated thousands of kilometers across vast oceans. Depending on the species, their diets range from seagrass, jellyfish, and algae to small fish and crustaceans. Some, like the green sea turtle, can live up to 70-80 years, grow as long as 1.5 meters, and weigh over 200 kilograms. With their massive bodies and long-distance migration abilities, they have become enduring symbols of resilience and freedom. But not every turtle survives long enough to reach adulthood. Many are caught before they ever get the chance to reproduce. Others become entangled in fishing nets, lines, or drifting plastic bags. These invisible threats, most of them caused by humans, are quietly shortening the lifespans of one of Earth's most ancient species. A behavior few people notice during sea turtle mating season. From March to September, depending on species and region, a pair of turtles mating peacefully underwater can suddenly become the center of intense competition. Lone males often arrive, pushing, biting, and wrapping around the female in a bid to claim the chance to reproduce. Gentle creatures? Not always. In the natural world, even love is a fierce contest. After several weeks, the female turtle returns to the very stretch of beach where she was once born, beginning her quiet, solitary journey ashore to lay her eggs. Usually at night or during high tide, the mother turtle, weighing hundreds of kilograms, drags herself across the dry sand using only her flippers, each slow, laborious step guided not by food or water, but by pure instinct. After laying her eggs, the mother turtle quietly returns to the sea, leaving the sandy nest behind, and with it, the offspring she will never meet. From the very moment they hatch, sea turtles face a fate entirely different from their farm-raised counterparts. There's no helping hand, no safe tank, only instinct. Hatchlings must struggle out of their sandy nests and follow the faint glimmer of moonlight reflecting off the waves to reach the sea. It's a short journey, but one filled with danger. With slow movements and fragile bodies, even a slight misstep can make them easy prey for seabirds, lizards, or even stray dogs. In the wild, nesting beaches often become hunting grounds, and the most vulnerable are the first to fall. Sea turtles spend nearly their entire lives in the ocean, coming ashore only to lay eggs. But the odds of surviving to adulthood are shockingly low. Only about 1 in 1,000 hatchlings will ever make it back to the sea. Now, let's return to the farm, where turtles are raised under strict protocols and controls, becoming a vital link in the entire value chain. Remember those turtle eggs we've been waiting for? Now, let's take a look at what's happening inside the incubation room. After about 30 to 40 days, the hatchlings begin to break free from their fragile shells, not one by one, but together. Using subtle vibrations and barely perceptible sounds from inside their eggs, they coordinate their timing, instinctively syncing their emergence in a silent collective signal. It's not chance, it's survival by design. Hatching as a group means more movement, more confusion for predators, and a better shot at life. After hatching, the baby turtles are carefully collected by staff. Those that are healthy, well-developed, and free from deformities are selected for commercial farming or reserved as future breeding stock. Once sorted, the selected juveniles are transferred to specialized rearing tanks, designed to mimic natural conditions with soft bottoms, clean circulating water, and areas with both light and shade. Each tank is closely monitored for temperature, pH levels, and dissolved oxygen to ensure optimal living conditions. After around 4 to 5 years of rearing, an adult turtle can consume between 300 to 500 grams of food per day, depending on the weather and its body size. With proper care, it can reach a weight of 3.5 to 6 kilograms, the ideal range for harvest readiness. When harvest season arrives, the once still surface of the pond comes alive. Work begins at first light, while the sun is still hidden behind the trees and the water remains quiet and cool. Workers step into the ponds, where turtles rest buried beneath thick layers of mud. To avoid shocking the animals or disturbing the water's ecosystem, every movement is slow and deliberate. They use probing sticks to detect subtle motions, watching for ripples, rising bubbles, or faint trails, each a clue. Once located, turtles are gently lifted using gloved hands or long-handled nets. Larger individuals often rest deeper, requiring workers to patiently dig through fine mud, with movements that are both precise and firm. Each turtle is rinsed to remove excess mud, then placed in mesh holding cages submerged in the water. In many areas, harvesting requires official permits, and surprise inspections are common. Violations can result in the entire stock being confiscated, abruptly ending a rearing cycle that took 4 to 5 years to complete. After being brought ashore, the softshell turtles are moved to a preliminary cleaning area, where all mud and debris clinging to their bodies are thoroughly removed. The entire cleaning process is carried out quickly and continuously to avoid stressing the turtles, which could lead to dehydration, reduced muscle firmness, and ultimately, lower commercial value. Depending on size, each container typically holds 4 to 6 individuals. These containers are then transported directly to wholesale markets or major collection points, where buyers are ready to inspect, weigh, and appraise each turtle. With an average weight of 3.5 to 6 kilograms, adult turtles can sell for $60 to $90 each. Healthy turtles with strong reflexes and no visible scratches are always priced higher. Few would imagine that from a slow-moving ancient creature like the turtle, entire culinary traditions have emerged, rich in heritage yet steeped in controversy. From tender slices of turtle meat stir-fried with ginger, to herbal soups and soft, rich turtle eggs, these dishes are considered rare delicacies in parts of Asia, often tied to beliefs in vitality, longevity, and traditional healing. In some cultures, eating turtle is more than just nourishment. It's a symbol of strength, endurance, and status. But alongside curiosity about taste comes growing concern over health risks and ethical boundaries. With their long lifespans and complex habitats, turtles, especially those in the wild, are prone to accumulating heavy metals and biological toxins. Without strict regulation, these can pose serious risks to consumers. Meanwhile, increasing demand continues to push some turtle species closer to extinction. Cuisine reflects culture, but sometimes it also tests the conscience of an era. With this dish, would you choose indulgence or reflection? And if it came down to a choice, would you stand with flavor or with life? We've just journeyed through a world full of surprises, from high-tech turtle farms to the untouched shores where sea turtles lay their eggs. Each detail not only revealed a lesser-known side of this animal, but also raised important questions worth reflecting on. And the journey isn't over yet, because ahead, there's still so much more waiting to be discovered. With a crawling speed of just 3.7 millimeters per second, the snail, one of the slowest creatures on Earth, is surprisingly at the heart of a rapidly growing processing industry worth over $4 billion. But have you ever wondered, how are millions of tons of snails harvested and processed each year? The journey of this peculiar mollusk begins at modern snail farms, where they are raised under strictly controlled conditions, until they reach the ideal stage for harvesting. From there, the snails are transported to processing facilities, where cutting-edge technology works hand-in-hand with meticulous human labor to transform these tiny creatures into valuable ingredients for high-end cuisine and biocosmetics. Today, join Agriculture Insight as we explore some of the most sophisticated snail farms in the world, and uncover why this slow-moving species has become the foundation of a booming economic empire. All will be revealed in this video. In the global snail race, France leads the way with an annual production of thousands of tons, contributing tens of millions of dollars to the economy. Snail meat is tender, slightly chewy, and subtly sweet, often prepared with garlic butter and herbs to become the iconic escargot, a symbol of French haute cuisine. The country's snail farming industry is thriving, with hundreds of professional farms turning this slow-moving creature into a refined element of French culture. But don't let their tiny appearance fool you. Snails are true biological gold mines. Their slime contains collagen, elastin, glycolic acid, and allantoin, valuable compounds that help regenerate skin, reduce scars, and fight aging. Thanks to these properties, snail slime is dubbed liquid gold in the world of biocosmetics, fetching prices as high as $500 to $1,000 per kilogram once refined. And like all extraordinary stories, this one has a beginning. For snails, it starts in specialized farms, where humans create the perfect slimy paradise for this liquid gold to be born from the slowest crawl on Earth. And every fascinating story has its beginning. For snails, it starts at specialized farms, where humans create the perfect slimy paradise for that golden liquid to be born from the slowest crawl on Earth. Nowadays, one of the most popular and efficient methods for snail farming is the semi-natural model, breeding indoors and growing outdoors. This approach allows for better control during the sensitive early stages, while taking advantage of natural conditions to promote faster, healthier growth and maximize cost efficiency. The very first step in the production journey may seem simple, but it is absolutely critical: the careful selection of parent snails. The chosen individuals must be healthy, evenly developed, with strong, intact shells and no deformities, to ensure the quality of the breeding stock right from the start. In nature, snails reproduce most actively at the end of spring, when the air is warm and humidity is high. However, in modern farms, it's possible to regulate temperature, lighting, and humidity to encourage year-round breeding, significantly boosting productivity. And although snails are hermaphrodites, each one possessing both male and female reproductive organs, they still require a partner for cross-fertilization. During mating season, they slowly approach each other, engaging in a courtship ritual of gentle touches and graceful spirals, a silent dance that can last for hours. The climax comes when they exchange sperm through a structure called a love dart, one of the most bizarre mating behaviors in the animal kingdom. After mating, snails lay their eggs in clusters within pre-prepared soil trays. Each snail can lay dozens to hundreds of eggs, typically choosing soft, moist, and secluded spots to ensure safety. The soil in the trays is cleaned, lightly moistened, and placed in quiet, low-light areas to create a secure environment for egg laying. Once the eggs are laid, the mother snail usually covers them with a thin layer of soil as a natural form of protection. However, in industrial farming settings, the farmer will promptly locate and gently collect each clutch of eggs, taking care not to break or disturb their structure, and place them into foam boxes lined with loose, moist soil. Although the eggs do not require maternal care, they are highly sensitive to environmental changes. Therefore, they must be handled with great care and immediately transferred to an incubation room, where temperature and humidity are consistently regulated 24/7. After about 10 to 20 days, the tiny creatures begin to break through their delicate shells and emerge into the world. They are so fragile that their shells remain transparent, and their bodies are soft and weak, as if they had just stepped out of an entirely different realm. Thousands of tiny snails crawl across the surface of the trays, marking the start of a slow yet promising journey toward maturity. If the incubation process is carried out correctly, the hatching rate can reach up to 90%, an ideal figure in modern snail farming. Immediately after hatching, the baby snails are transferred to larger trays, more spacious and well-ventilated environments, fully prepared with a nutritious food supply. This is a crucial step to create optimal conditions for uniform development across the entire brood, laying the groundwork for a healthy generation ready for the next stages of growth. Once they are strong enough, these tiny residents are released into lush vegetable fields, marking the beginning of an entirely new chapter in their development journey. To prepare for this stage, farmers use specialized tractors equipped with sharp plow blades and powerful tilling systems to break up the soil, making it loose, aerated, and moisture retentive. They then evenly sow seeds across the field with vegetables like mustard greens, leafy Chinese cabbage, or navacol, soft, sweet leaf varieties that snails particularly enjoy. After just 10 to 15 days, the fields come alive with a carpet of tender, green sprouts. An automated sprinkler system is activated regularly to keep both the soil and foliage consistently cool and moist. Between the rows of vegetables, large wooden boards are placed, not only to provide natural shade and reduce soil surface temperature, but also to serve as cool shelters for the snails later on. Once all conditions are ready, the nursery trays are gently opened, and the young snails are released onto the beds of tender greens. Fresh air, soft light, and a rich plant ecosystem now become their ideal habitat for continued growth. Each snail begins exploring this new space, slowly crawling over leaves and nibbling bit by bit. A single snail can consume dozens of leaves per day, a steady, energetic process of growth. From around day 80 onward, as the snails begin to reach maturity, their nutritional needs increase. By this time, the vegetable beds are often depleted and no longer sufficient to support optimal development. To maintain their growth rate, farmers begin adding supplemental feed, a blend of bran, cornmeal, minerals, and light nutritional additives, spread evenly between the rows so that all snails have access. By day 100 to 120, the snails have fully matured. They cling to the undersides of the wooden boards, avoiding the sun and resting. These boards have now become more than just shade. They are natural, quiet shelters for tens of thousands of snails, ready for harvest. The entire field transforms into a living biological garden, a perfect conclusion to a closed-loop farming cycle that is both natural and meticulously precise. Once the snails reach full maturity, with hardened shells and fully developed epiphragms, the harvest season officially begins. Across the lush green fields now lined with wooden shelter boards, farmers carefully remove each snail by hand, taking great care not to crack the shell or injure the delicate soft body. They move slowly, bending close to the ground, thoroughly inspecting each crevice and cluster of vegetation to ensure no snail is overlooked. With patient hands and observant eyes, each snail is gently lifted, as if harvesting living gems quietly nurtured by nature over hundreds of days. Immediately after collection, thousands of snails are brought to the cleaning area. Here, the farmers begin washing them, an essential step to remove slime, dirt, and debris from the shells. Under streams of cool water from low-pressure spray nozzles, each snail is gently rinsed, both to clean them and to help them recover from the stress of harvest. After being cleaned, the snails are placed in ventilated mesh trays or baskets to drain and are fasted for about 24 hours to purge waste from their digestive systems, an important step to ensure hygiene and the quality of the final product. Once transported from the farm, the mature snails are sorted according to their intended use. Healthy snails that meet the standard size are sent to meat processing facilities, where a strict industrial procedure is carried out to serve the high-end culinary industry. The first stage is cleaning, a critical and indispensable step. The snails, still in their shells, are placed into a high-pressure water jet washing system that thoroughly removes all dirt, sand, and external impurities, ensuring complete hygiene before moving on to further processing. After being thoroughly cleaned, the snails are placed on a conveyor belt leading to the processing area. On either side of the belt, skilled workers sit facing each other, handling the snails swiftly, yet with great care. Using small knives or specialized tools, they gently separate the tender meat from the shell without tearing or damaging the tissue. Once extracted, the snail meat is placed into separate trays in preparation for the next processing steps. On the conveyor belt, the snail meat is spread evenly to ensure a continuous and efficient workflow. The trays of snail meat are gradually emptied onto the system, allowing the meat to be evenly distributed. At this stage, workers use specialized scissors to remove any unwanted internal organs, keeping only the clean, high-quality meat. This step requires a high level of precision to ensure consistency in both quality and appearance of the final product. Next, the snail meat is rinsed again and undergoes a final screening stage to eliminate any remaining impurities. This step ensures that only pure, high-quality meat remains. After that, the snail meat is packed into small bags, each precisely weighed according to predetermined standard weights. These bags are gently compressed to tightly pack the meat and remove excess air, thereby extending the shelf life. Once compressed, the bags are heat-sealed and properly labeled. All finished bags are neatly arranged in cardboard boxes, ready to be distributed to the market or delivered to restaurants. Carefully processed snail meat is highly valued in the culinary world. In many restaurants, it is served as a premium delicacy, with prices ranging from 30 to 50 euros per serving. Thanks to its tender texture and delicate flavor, snail meat has become a prized culinary gem, beloved by diners around the globe. Meanwhile, the healthy snails are transferred to the mucus extraction area, one of the most delicate and valuable stages in the entire high-end biocosmetic production process. Using a traditional manual method, bags of snails are hung on specialized racks positioned just above gently oscillating metal rods. These rods continuously tap the bags, naturally stimulating the snails to secrete mucus. The milky white slime from thousands of snails slowly drips down into collection trays below, forming a thick, highly valuable liquid. On average, each snail can produce between 0.5 to 1 gram of mucus per cycle. This raw material is crucial and will later be refined for use in premium cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. In addition to the manual method, modern technology has introduced a more advanced extraction process that ensures no harm to the snails. At large-scale facilities, mature snails are placed into specialized machines. Workers spread the snails in a thin, even layer to ensure each one comes into direct contact with the device's surface. Then, the machine is sealed, and the automated extraction system is activated. The machine operates by simulating a natural environment, combining gentle vibrations and controlled air pressure to safely and naturally stimulate the snails to secrete mucus. After about 30 to 60 minutes, the slime begins to flow and is collected through a specialized piping system. The entire process can last from 2 to 3 hours, ensuring that the extracted mucus is of high quality, while the snails remain healthy and are able to continue developing normally. After extraction, the snails enter a deep rest state, similar to a temporary coma, during which they show no immediate response. The collected snail mucus is transferred to large tanks for purification and viscosity homogenization. Workers then pour the mucus into automated filling machines, ensuring that each jar contains an exact amount of product. Sterilized glass jars pass along the filling line and are filled with a smooth, thick cream. Once filled, the jars are immediately sealed to preserve the product's quality. All finished jars are neatly arranged on trays, awaiting a final inspection before being packed into cartons and made ready for delivery to consumers. Unlike many other cosmetic products, snail mucus-based skincare does not require a complex formulation. This is because the natural mucus already contains valuable active ingredients such as collagen, elastin, and glycolic acid. With just light purification and the addition of a few stabilizing agents, a high-quality and effective product can be created. After the extraction process, the snails are transferred to a recovery area where they can rest and regain their strength. Once fully recovered, they are released back into lush green gardens with fresh grass and natural vegetation. Here, the snails continue to grow in a safe and comfortable environment. After about 2 to 3 months, they will be ready for a new extraction cycle, without any long-term impact on their health.